Okay, I think we're live. Hold on one second. It is yeah, it's 107. It's 6/22, 2025. Good to see everybody in here already. Sorry, I'm a little late. Um, let's see here. Who we got here? We got Paula Fitzhenry's in here. Hi, Paula. How are you? Good to see you. Miranda's in here. Hey, Miranda. How are you? Good to see you, Miranda. Honeybee's in here. Hey, Honeybee. How are you? Good to see you. Okay. Good to see you, though. Anyways, good to see everybody. Let's see who else is in here. Oh, Carol. Hi, Carol. How are you? Good to see you. Let's see here. I think I saw Tracy Fleetwood in here. Good to see Tracy. Who else is in here? Good to see you. Dirty Diana's in here. Hey, Dirty Diana. Good to see you. It's really funny. I wanted to cover a case tonight, but I was going through my history, and I think I deleted it. So now I don't. Now I got to find it. But I got other stuff I can go over to. But anyways, it's good to see everybody. I was outside. I was going to do this from the porch tonight, but of course it started raining as soon as Amy's in here. Hey, good to see Amy. So I had to come inside. But the good news is it's warming up pretty good. So at some point this year, we're going to be outside on the porch doing these lives. But right now, it's a little bit, raining out. So I don't know if I want to get outside with my computer. Anyways, good to see everybody. Let me play an intro. I'll be right back. We're going to go over the true crime cases of the week, missing person cases of the week. Good to see Mustang in here. Hi, Mustang. How are you? Good to see you. But let me play an intro. I'll be right back, and we'll get going on this here. But it's good to see. I hope everybody's had a good week. Let's see. What am I doing here? I'm going to play my intro, and then all right, here we go. Good to see everybody. Be right back. All right, so that's the end of that. How are you? Hope all is well at work. Well at work, and work is going great for you. How is the family? Family's good. Dirty Diana's in here. Hi, Dirty Diana. She's awesome. Sweet Dude Chibi's in here. Sorry about your Oilers, but they had no choice, no chance really. Good to see everybody in here. Good to see some new people in here. We got Amy in here. Quick thing about the channel. Let me get rid of my face here. Hold on a second. All right. Quick thing about the channel. If you want a wrench, let me know. Everybody pretty much gets wrenches in here. If you got channels, anybody that has a channel, you can post them in the chat. Feel free to post all your channels in the chat. We know we got some awesome content creators in here. So just let me know if you need a wrench. Okay, so like I said, I was going to cover a case tonight, but I freaking lost it. So now I'm going to have to find it. But unfortunately, that's not going to be tonight. Did we do the Lawrence Steele thing? No, I don't think so. We're going to do that tonight. But let's start off here. We're going to start off, I think, with the kind of like the Karen Reed theme here. You're a Toronto fan anyway. I feel bad for you. Enter Weircat Truther Network. How are you? Good to see you. I'm good for now. Okay, good. What was I doing? That's from Valencia. Valencia's birthday yesterday, right? Happy birthday. Nicole Watson here. Good to see Nicole. All right, so we'll start out here with the Sandra Birchmore case. Let me see here. So following up, we'll play. I want to play the verdict from the Karen Reed trial too. But we'll start out here. I don't know if I did this last week. We do the Sandra Birchmore thing last week. So Alexandra Kazarian, senior trial attorney at Garagos and Garagos, joins the nation to discuss the growing list of bombshells and the mysterious unaliving of Sandra Birchmore. Birchmore, 23 and pregnant, was found unalived in her Canton, Massachusetts. See that theme there, Canton, Massachusetts apartment in 2021. Her unaliving was ruled as a voluntarily unaliving despite suspicious details. Her family later accused 3 Stoughton police officers. We know the story, but I'm just going over it for the people who don't know about it. Thousands of texts revealed the years-long relationship began when Birchmore was 15. But the DNA now results show that Farrell was reportedly not the father of the unborn child. So let's go over this here. I don't know what that's going to do for the case, but here we go.
Feel like a puzzle. Every new fact we uncover is a clue pointing to the next piece. But Sandra Birchmore's mystery keeps dropping bombshells that scramble the puzzle image that we've been building for years. Sandra was 23 years old and 3 months pregnant when she was found dead in her Canton, Massachusetts apartment. That was.
Hey, Big Fish is here. Good to see Big Fish in the house. He wasn't the real father for real. Yeah, they did the DNA testing, and apparently he wasn't the father of the unborn.
Was back in 2021. She was found sitting on the floor. There was a luggage strap around her neck. The other end was tied to a doorknob. So just picture that for a moment. Her death was ruled a suicide, even though plenty of clues showed otherwise, like brand new baby clothes over there on the counter and a fresh load of laundry, over there in the washer dryer. And the list goes on. Her family would later accuse 3 police officers from the neighboring town of Stoughton, Massachusetts, of, quote, grooming Sandra as a teenager, a young one, and sexually abusing her for years. An internal police investigation would come to the same conclusion. Bombshell number 1. Then the feds got involved and ultimately charged one of those Stoughton police officers, Matthew Farwell, with Sandra Birchmore's homicide. Bombshell number 2. Bombshell number 3 was hiding in more than 32,000 text messages that the investigators found between Sandra and the married cop on your screen. Among many other things, those texts revealed that Matthew Farwell took Sandra's virginity when she was just 15 and he was 27, which, in itself is a crime. Later, text messages revealed that Sandra wanted a baby with him and demanded that he impregnate her. And once she was pregnant, she insisted Matthew put his name on the child's birth certificate and be involved in the baby's life. And why might Matthew Farwell push back on any of that? What leverage might Sandra have actually had over him if he did? Matthew Farwell was married, 2 kids of his own, and a 3rd baby on the way from a very pregnant wife of his. From all indications, Farwell was not at all excited about his girlfriend having a baby. Sandra told friends that he...
Okay, let me give you a second. I'll do that. Turning it to Archie Bunker. Oh, that's funny. The U factor again. Yeah, this guy's a piece of shit. But I don't know how this is going to go now because this might be a stomper here in this case, but we'll see.
He'd become violent with her. And then there was that...
All 3 of them. There's 3 guys involved in this thing. And like I've said in the past, if if it wasn't for the Karen Reed case, this case probably would have gone under the rug still. But because of the fact that the Karen Reed case was going on, they were able to get out there and picket for, Birchmore here. And they were able to get some people looking into it. And finally, I think it was the FBI that kind of decided they wanted to get involved in this. So that's where we are here now. But a lot of it had to do with the picketing that they were doing outside of the courthouse when the first Karen Reed case was going on, the trial.
Security video showing Matthew Farwell letting himself in and out of Sandra's apartment right before she died. Hoodie up. So this brings me to bombshell number 4.
You've never heard of the Sandra Birchmore case? Did they test the other two's DNA? I don't know. I don't think so. They must have, though.
I think that's where I am. The Boston Globe is reporting that new DNA testing shows that Matthew Farwell is not the biological father of Sandra Birchmore's baby. Wow. He, however, was told that he was, right? And Sandra told others that he was. He believed he was, for the most part, till he was arrested and then talked to investigators. So if it's true, Matthew Farwell is not the baby, what does that mean for the case against him? And for that, I turn to one of my own legal dream team members, Alexandra Kazarian. She's a senior trial attorney at Garagos and a friend of the show. Okay, file this one, Alexandra, into the file of
Well, let me know if that worked. I think I gave Electric Werecat Truther Network a wrench. So let me know if that worked. It may have been mentioned in the news, but I don't remember. I mean, I don't think it's going to really make that big of a difference, but it might. He probably, like I said, he probably still thought that he was.
Coming, but I'm really wondering if it matters. Tell me about it.
So that's the question. I mean, he's being charged with the murder of a witness. So what motivation does he have to get rid of her? Well, even if you take the baby out of the picture, exposing their relationship to his wife could be a prosecution theory. Exposing their underage sexcapades could be a theory. There may be a statute of limitations issue there, but I think that there is enough within those.
We love you, Miranda. Why would somebody despise you? That would be... Where the hell is Heather? Is Heather okay? Do we know?
Those 30,000, however many text messages, for the prosecution to at least make an argument that he has a motive to get rid of her so that she won't expose him, whether he is the father or not.
You are a defense attorney, and I would think a good defense attorney would say, let's find out who the baby daddy is, because that's the guy we want to point to in court as the real killer. But, this happened years and years ago. Is there any impetus?
There's only like 5 Canadians anyways. So, yeah, it's possible. Possible there's a Canadian involved.
This for the current cops, one of Matthew Farwell's own, to investigate and find the real father?
I don't know, but as a defense attorney, I don't even know if I need to go there, because all we need is reasonable doubt. And if she found out that...
Like I've said before, Massachusetts is loaded with corruption. I mean, I lived there. It's you want corruption, Massachusetts is the place. So this is not unusual here.
He was not actually the father, and she found out that she wasn't going to have a supportive person in her life, and that now him finding out perhaps that she actually was impregnated by somebody else might have ruined her entire life.
It's Necessary Evils in here. Hey buddy, what's going on, man? I thought you were having a live tonight.
Now I think you have a tragic but potentially...
It's just this whole case. I've been following this case forever. It's a sad case. She went to try to get help, as a teenager here, and they ended up basically grooming her That's just suck. It's just awful, terrible.
Plausible story that he didn't do it. And so all I need to tell that jury is that there is a reasonable alternative that makes him not the killer. And if there are two reasonable stories and one points to innocence, there's my reasonable doubt. So
Hey, buddy, what's going on, man? Paul Hanson's in the house. Gail Hurd is here. Hey, Gail, good to see you. I haven't seen you for forever. I hope you're well, Gail.
even if they don't investigate it, even if they don't find out who the father is, knowing that it's not him makes it a little bit more credible that she may have done this to herself from a defense perspective.
So she's murdered 4 years ago, and it takes quite a long time, a couple of years to actually arrest Farwell. I would have thought they would have had the DNA on that fetus with the autopsy, like right after her death. So why are we only finding out now about this?
Well, they've had the baby's DNA, but comparing it to his may have been the issue. They may not have had his. They may not have had enough for a warrant to get his. So it may have come down to putting the case together without.
They could have tried to hide it. That's always a possibility. And I think the latter is probably, more real.
DNA before they did that, and maybe it was a foregone conclusion. And at this point somebody said, might as well check it to bolster our case, and now look at what happened. It could be that.
Dang. I'm looking
Gail is here. We haven't seen Gail forever. I thought I gave you a wrench, JP.
forward to this trial for sure. If it goes to trial, I always say, but I can't wait to hear what his defense team has to say. Alexander, thank you. Good to see you. Have a good weekend.
Always. Thank you. You too.
Cops always get good lawyers too, so it's going to be tough. It's going to be, tough to do. But hopefully they can get, somewhere with this, because she's been needing justice forever. All right, so let's go to. I'll keep covering that, but thought I did that last week. I guess I didn't. Let's go. I'm tired of speculation. Maybe I'm just tired. Dirty cops, absolutely. All right, so let's go on to the. This is. Hold on a second. Let me do this here. Go on to the Karen Read. I want to play this here too, and then we'll move on to. Hopefully, we don't have to hear about Karen Read ever again, because this has been going on forever, right? But this is the family they're celebrating because of the acquittal verdict here. They probably would have had an acquittal verdict in the first trial too, but I don't think that was a fair trial at all. But anyways, at the conclusion of her second trial, Karen Read was found not guilty. They did find her guilty of OUI, though, I think. So, plus, I think isn't there a civil case coming up in that? I don't know. Anyways, this is the verdict here.
Now at 11, the end of a local case that garnered national attention.
Karen Read found not guilty in the murder of her Boston police officer boyfriend, John O'Keefe.
I could not be standing here without these amazing supporters.
This is what we've been waiting and fighting for, and we're not giving up.
Reaction on the verdict that's been nearly 4 years in the making.
A big relief. I'm so happy we have Karen free from all of this, all of these charges.
Everything the jury needed to convict was in front of that jury. They just didn't see it that way.
Plus, new tonight, Read's lawyer speaking after helping prove Read's innocence.
When you have truth and justice on your side, you're going to ultimately prevail.
And we're taking a look at what comes next for Read after this victory.
NBC 10 Boston News at 11 starts right now.
Defendant not guilty or guilty? So say you, Mr. Foreman. So say.
Was in the hospital for 9 days. Pneumonia. They took out a bag of fluid. Oh my God! And found a nodule in my right lung. Thus the pain. Feeling some better and not done yet. You poor thing. Oh my God, that's horrible. That's terrible, Gail. I hope you're feeling better. What the hell was it? Do you know? Does anybody know what it was? Pneumonia? That's awful. That's terrible. Oh, that's terrible. I feel bad. Yeah, it's very good to see you too. I knew something was wrong because she was sentenced to a year of probation yet for OUI. How many people think she's guilty? If 1 for guilty and 2 for not guilty. Yeah, I feel bad. That's awful, Gail. Yeah, I watched very little of the trial, but the first trial was a joke. But it's all hopefully, like I said, hopefully it's hope you're good. 2. No one knows what caused it. Well, that's not good. Well, I hope you're feeling better. I hope I don't know. Did I say 1 for guilty? I don't know. 2 for not guilty. I don't know. I think I said 1 for guilty, 2 for not guilty. Yeah, Karen stuff is awful. Law enforcement's pissed. But they did. It was a terrible investigation. It was awful.
You all.
The Karen Read murder trial saga has come to an end.
This is what happens when you do an awful investigation. You know, it's probably not going to go for you well in court. You know, they just they didn't have the evidence. We're going to play one of the jurors here soon too, but they just terrible investigation.
This was the reaction outside that courtroom as Read was acquitted in the death of her boyfriend, Boston police officer John O'Keefe, in 2022. The jury finding her not guilty on all of the major charges she was facing, including second-degree murder. The jury did, however, find her guilty of OUI. Thanks for being with us here tonight on NBC in Boston. I'm Colton Bradford.
And I'm Priscilla Casper. After 2 long trials, Read is free. We do have team coverage for you tonight. Our John Maroney and Michael Rosenfeld will have all of those reactions to the.
But same thing happened to my cousin Tina. Doctor said it was from an old lung infection. I know pneumonia is not good. Did you have the? Did Gail? Gail, did you get the? What do they call that? The pneumococcal. I know I got that. Glad the lawyers paid. It's just, yeah, it's people have been following this for a while.
Verdict in just a minute, but first, our Jericho Tran talked to Read and her lawyers tonight as they celebrated.
In the force.
Jericho, what did they tell you, and how are they feeling?
Relief. I think relief is the best way to describe it tonight. Karen Read walked through the streets of Boston today with a sense of vindication. She hugged friends and family.
Yeah, they just didn't do a good investigation. I mean, it's part corruption probably and just part stupidity. I mean, you know, you can blame stupidity on corruption all you want, but sometimes it's just stupid. But I think it's a balance of both. Just really, really bad police work, and you know, some corruption in there. Because I mean, a lot of times they don't want to call each other out, but it's terrible.
But I think the most important thing to remember here is that there still needs to be justice for Boston police officer John O'Keefe. So I asked Read if she had any words for the O'Keefe family.
Any words for the O'Keefe family? I fought for John O'Keefe harder than anyone, harder than anyone.
After a nearly 4-year legal battle, Karen Read celebrated her freedom on the streets of Seaport with friends.
Yeah, all I know is she's going to be a really rich lady soon. The book deals, all of that.
friends and family.
Happy. I'm happy. Thank you.
Just feels very gratifying, very heartwarming that it's over.
The retrial of Reed may be over, but for her supporters, the novelty has not worn off.
Kind of like a little media frenzy, like having a local celebrity around.
Abby is just one of the many supporters who eagerly waited outside of Reed's Fort Point Hotel, hoping to catch a glimpse of Reed. Instead, they ran into her defense team, defense attorneys David Yannetti and Robert Alessi.
Our biggest fear was a mistrial, and thank God that didn't happen.
As one of the first lawyers hired by Reed, Yannetti joined Reed's defense team before her first trial.
They charged.
I don't know if the prosecution would have retried this case if they would have had another hung jury, because it's costing them a fortune. Dancing with the Stars, you think so? She lost her house, her jobs, and 401k. Yeah. Think she went to a bar afterwards? Or did she actually go to a bar after? I would have too.
Charged the wrong person with murder, and really they put her through hell for 3.5 years.
While Alessi joined Reed's defense team before her retrial.
People knew what the truth was. They knew what the truth was, and people motivated us to keep working hard. And I got to tell you something. God bless those 12 people on the jury.
The past few weeks of the retrial ticked down to its final moments today when the jury went back and forth about whether or not they reached a verdict.
We've seen the evidence. We've seen it up close. This should not be over by any stretch.
The road to justice for John O'Keefe is far from over. We're going to turn things now to Dedham, where we have NBC 10 Boston reporter John Maroney, who has been...
This chat is freaking hilarious. Hollywood Squares. Oh, my God, that's freaking hilarious. Yeah, where is Heather? Hopefully she's sleeping. Yeah, Dirty Diana's got a great channel. I know that Chuck's got a great channel here too. I'm pretty sure John Paul Hansen's got a channel still too. If you guys have channels, throw them in the chat. I don't mind promoting other great content creators. Delta, yeah, they're not going to bother with this, I don't think. Paul Lind, remember Paul Lind? He was funny. He was wicked funny. All right, so here we go.
Covering this retrial inside the courtroom from the very beginning. John, what was the reaction like tonight?
Jericho, the pain and anguish is over for one family. Karen Reed is free tonight, but John O'Keefe's family is still struggling.
I could not be standing here without these amazing supporters.
Karen Reed on the steps of Norfolk Superior Court after she was acquitted of killing her boyfriend and Boston police officer John O'Keefe with her SUV and leaving him to die in a blizzard.
No one has fought harder for justice for John O'Keefe than I have.
Leaving the scene after accident resulting in death, is the defendant not guilty or guilty? So say you, Mr. Foreman? So say you all? Cheers from outside the courtroom could be heard when the last guilty verdict was read. OUI was the...
One of my favorite game shows of all time was Match Game. Way back in the 70s. Match Game, I think it was Match Game 75, and it was Match Game 76. And I think they had a Match Game 77, not sure. But that was a funny game show.
Only guilty conviction. Reed cried and hugged her attorneys as O'Keefe's family sat in stunned silence.
Sorry for their loss. We've always felt that way. John was a good man.
The verdict came on the fourth day of deliberations following an apparent miscue by the jury.
I received word from a court officer that the jury had knocked on the door, indicating that they had a verdict. But
Well, I hope you don't get that again, Gail. We love having Gail here. Gail is amazing. I'm just glad you're, doing better. I think a lot of innuendo on Match Game didn't get as a kid. I used to love that show with Brett, and who else was on that show? Charles Nelson Riley. The guy was classic.
But before I could even summons everybody into court,
I think Richard Dawson was on that show for a long time too. I could be wrong.
shortly thereafter, they knocked again and said they didn't have a verdict.
A half hour later, and with word of another verdict, police closed down the street. It wasn't long before Reed departed the courthouse in Dedham for perhaps the last time with her entourage, including her family.
Karen, how are you feeling? I'm so happy we have Karen free from all of this, all of these charges, and we need to get our life back together, and we will.
Now, we have heard from a lot of people reacting to this verdict. One person that we have not heard from is Norfolk County District Attorney Michael Morrissey. We'll have in Dedham, John Maroney, NBC 10 Boston.
All right, John, thank you. Let's bring in our Michael.
It's almost like a requisite to drink and drive in Boston or Massachusetts. It's, remember Ted Kennedy? Fanny Flagg. Remember Fanny Flagg? These names. These names are terrible. Brings back memories. Flower power, man.
Rosenfield right now. We just heard from the Reed family. John, you talked to Michael, you talked to a friend of John O'Keefe. What did he have to say about this verdict?
Yeah, Colton, we spoke to supporters on both sides today as this verdict came in. We spoke to a very close friend of John O'Keefe to get his thoughts on how things went today. And we also spoke to supporters of Karen Reed here outside the courthouse.
So say, Mr. Foreman.
The crowd roared outside the courthouse Wednesday afternoon when the verdict was read and Karen Reed was found not guilty of the most serious charges against her. Hundreds of people dressed in pink have supported Reed from the start, convinced she was framed and faced
all the, if you go to some of these, Dave, read the statement from the Canton Police Department. It was just, a lot of these people that cover this case, especially if they're former law enforcement or some of these doofuses that think they know everything, they were so pissed when this verdict came in. But I mean, the investigation was terrible. They didn't. I'm going to play one of the jurors. They went by the evidence, and the evidence just wasn't there.
facing a grave injustice. Reed has become somewhat of a phenomenon and celebrity since she was charged in the death of her boyfriend 3 years ago.
Justice. We have been here for 2 years, and this is history, people. We took it back. Let's go!
Reed supporters have not only fought for her exoneration, but
I'm just glad I was in this crowd, man. I wouldn't have been able to do it.
they've shown up at Canton Select Board meetings, urging change at the police department, convinced that.
Could you imagine being around all these freaking people? Huh.
Canton PD was complicit in some of the mismanagement of the Reed case. In a statement, the Select Board said in part, today's outcome may bring a sense of relief to some and continue to raise questions for others. We encourage members of the community to move forward together, treating one another with respect through civil, constructive dialogue.
This could be any one of us. We're all Karen Reed. This could be any one of us. And if you didn't have the kind of funds that she had to get yourself out of this, where would we be? In jail.
After the verdict, family and friends of John O'Keefe gathered at the nearby VFW Hall. They were dejected by the jury's decision.
Everything the jury needed to convict was in front of that jury.
Did you have to look that up, Sweet? Because I would have never been able to spell that. Crazy people should stay inside. That's me. That's for sure. Oh.
They just didn't see it that way.
John Jackson, wearing his college friend's badge number on his.
I wouldn't even doubt if she's already got a book deal going. Just my opinion.
Hat says they were also not happy with the cheering outside the courthouse when the verdict was read.
It was disgusting.
I mean, I do feel bad for the family, kind of, but to lose a loved one like that. But at the same time, they didn't have enough evidence. It wasn't there.
Family heard it. It was disgusting.
And they weren't pleased with Karen Reed's statement outside court, and nobody has done more for justice for John O'Keefe than she has.
We watched her interview on the courthouse steps afterwards. It's just unfortunate. If she decided to
to make better decisions between 12:30 and 6 a.m., I'd still be here.
They are mourning a son, brother, caregiver to his niece and nephew, and a beloved friend who sometimes seems to have been forgotten.
We deserve much better than this. And, we'll just move forward with what the family knows what happened here. Everybody knows what.
The family of John O'Keefe has filed a civil lawsuit against Karen Read, so her legal troubles aren't over just yet. We're live at the courthouse in Dedham tonight.
So that means that we're going to have to hear about it for the next. All right. So let's go to. This is one of the jurors. I think there was 2 jurors that spoke out, but I just want to play this one here. I think it's the first time I've ever gone to TMZ for the verdict. But here we go. This is so this is one of the jurors that spoke out, I think, like the next day after the jury.
What other cases could be judged like this?
Tonight, another juror breaks her silence.
What broke her heart the moment the verdict was announced? Plus,
they were by her side every step of the way. Tonight,
unfortunately, I get these updates when anything like this happens. So I got that kind of like update buzzer from my computer when the jury came through with this, and then I had to obviously get up and find out what was going on. So that was the channel. I think Crime Talk it was somebody posted something on Twitter about the not guilty verdict, and of course Twitter has it before anybody else does. So that's when I went to TMZ to verify that. Then I had to go to other sources, but if you want to know anything, just go to Twitter. They'll have it.
tonight, Karen Read's parents weighing in on what happened and what's next.
The jurors from the retrial of Karen Read are starting to speak out. Good evening, everyone. I'm JC Monahan.
and I'm Glenn.
Good to see everybody in here tonight. It's good to see some of the new people in here. And it's also good to see Gail in here. We haven't seen Gail for a while. Let's hope we see Heather in here at some point.
Jones. Tonight, we're hearing from a second juror who shared what it was like to decide Read's fate. She spoke with our courtroom insider, Sue O'Connell.
What did you know about the Karen Read case before you started hearing evidence?
I know she had a billboard on Route 1. Every time I go grocery shop, I see Free Karen Read. That's all I knew about her and her name. I also saw some lounge that has signs Free Karen Read, but didn't strike me to go search and understand what it was. So I had no clue what crime or what she did, who she was, who John was, nothing.
Who do you think did a good job on the defense side and for making the case, and who do you think didn't help or made it worse?
Dr. Lapsata, for me, was very good in the ARCA witness. I now know that.
Heather's here. Hey, Heather, how are you? Good to see you. I hope we didn't wake you up. It's always good to see Heather in here. I got her GoFundMe page scrolling across the bottom here. It's always good to see Heather here. I hope you're well. Not the same chat without you.
They didn't want us to hear the ARCA professionals. They made it just clear and easy for a regular person like me to understand what really happened with data, with the videos, with the dummy, what the weight of the dummy. That discussion was so unnecessary.
How was your reaction to hearing the text messages former Trooper Proctor sent to his friends?
So the case I was going to cover tonight, oh, you're welcome. I get all my news from legitimate, independent. Oh, that's fucking funny. Oh. That's not good. The Albert family and the neighbors both had Ring cameras, but they weren't working that night. But they were working that morning. Yeah, it's so strange. So it happened I'm pretty sure it happened in British Columbia. It was a teenage girl, right around, I think, 1998 or 2002. And that's why I asked Dirty Diana last night how far she was away from. I thought for some reason you were in Washington, but I'm just wondering if that had anything to do with Israel Keys. So I wanted to go over that tonight. Dom's here. Good to see you. I forget her name. I'll have to try to find that again.
There was some wording that make me feel disgusted and upset. It's not that you don't have the same reaction if it was him reading. It's like just like Karen Reed and Brian Higgins text message. If it was him reading or her, it's not about who is reading. It's about the content. Okay, at that point when that friend came and read all the text messages, we already knew that Michael Proctor was a police officer who was fired, who was being accused of corruption or framed Karen Reed, whatever. So we already expect that something bad would come from this guy. So that's why I think you didn't see a shocking expression on our faces.
Talk to me about the.
I think part of the reason why she was found not guilty is she just looks not guilty. Whose birthday is it? Dom's birthday? Happy birthday, buddy. Sorry, I'm not GH. I don't have a birthday song for you. You need more Pringles? What was that jingle with the Pringles? Yeah, and I'm not going to sing. It's all good. Anybody ever watched the GH where he sings the here's a thing that's horrible. That's the worst birthday song ever.
The reaction when the verdict was read and the crowd outside screamed and cheered.
To be honest with you, I don't remember what happened in that courtroom that day, that moment, because once I heard the people outside, I just closed my eyes and I started crying, and I left the courtroom without looking to anyone. I did.
Has anybody in the chat ever been on jury duty? It'll be up forever. We love you here, Heather. Heather's an amazing person, period. Screw pubes, yeah. Once you pop, you can't stop. There you go. That's it.
Not expected to hear it because through the whole trial, we didn't hear anything on a jury room. We did not saw many people outside because we come from the back of the courthouse. So we would see someone walk with a pink shirt here and there, but that was it. Never hear chanting or comments or laughing or yelling or booing, nothing. And it's particular to me when I heard that people screaming out of happiness. At the same time, I was seeing John O'Keefe's family crying out of sadness, and that broke.
I think there were a couple. I'm pretty sure there were a couple jurors that wanted to go with the guilty thing, but they kept asking for stuff. I think one of the reasons why is they wanted to charge her with one thing, but they didn't want to charge her for the other thing. So they basically just came to the fact that they didn't think she was guilty of the unaliving. So it's my opinion.
My heart. So that moment, I kind of understood how big this case was and how we're making someone happen, and we're making a lot of other people sad too. So I don't remember what happened in the courtroom that moment. I just closed
I think this person here is a lawyer in Brazil.
my eyes and cried.
Sue is back with us tonight, along with defense attorney Morgietta Dourcier. Sue, what stood out to you the most about what Paula had to say?
How focused she said she and all the jurors were on the O'Keefe family, and how they really felt very.
Pretty rough. That sucks, Heather.
Early into deliberation, she says that there was just not enough evidence to support the Commonwealth's claims that Karen Reed hit John O'Keefe and caused his death, and how the weight of how that was going to impact the O'Keefes, really like staring at them for 40 days while they were thinking about adjudicating this. It really, really stayed with her. And I think that her heart felt expression. She was very careful, Paula was, not to speak for the other jurors, but she did say she felt this collective grief around having to deliver this verdict, which they believe was right and just, and also having to harm the O'Keefes.
So I was struck by her comments about hearing the hearing the people outside cheer after the jury delivered its verdict, which is so different from Ronald in the first trial, who told us during deliberations they could hear the people outside. So we know that them intentionally staying quiet made a difference between the deliberation process.
Yeah, it did indeed. And also because of the buffer zone and the way it worked in the beginning, and fewer people were there, and the way they came in, they never saw any of it or heard any of it. Remember, and Karen also and her team were not staying on site. They were at that church across the street. They were all the way over by Route 1. So every time Karen or her team came and went, there was no cheering. So
yeah, as I said, it's not over yet for her, but she better be careful, though. If I was her, I'd just move out of the state because, they're probably going to be gunning for her.
Remember when the verdict was read and the cheer came up, I saw the jurors just look around like, what's going on? And so when we talk about how could they find people who don't know anything about the case, or how can they not know what's going on outside? This is how justice gets done.
Morgietta, what did you think of what this juror had to say?
I think
It's that word backwards. Good to see you. Yeah, because they're gonna try to get her for something. But I don't think she cares about the civil trial because she'll probably end up suing right back. She'll probably end up suing the state right back.
best thing about what she said is how seriously you could tell all the jurors took this case. And everyone said,
She had some really good lawyers, though. She had some. That's what happens when you have good lawyers, man.
how are they going to not know? How are they not going to Google? But they went to that room and they knew that they had a job to accomplish.
Peggy O was here. Good to see Peggy O in the house. A lot of white clothes would have already spilled coffee. Yes. Spilling coffee should be illegal.
And that was to take the evidence and analyze it based upon what they saw in the courtroom, what they heard over the last 40 days, and make a decision. And you can even tell that they're smart, they paid attention, some took notes, some didn't, but this is how jury systems are supposed to work. So I think it's really refreshing to know that this—
On your chat, on your live, Dee Dee had a great live this morning, yesterday morning, whatever morning it was. I think it was yesterday morning. Yeah, if you were a nurse, you probably needed coffee. I can't do anything without coffee. It's not going to happen.
and the other that came out, and I'm sure all of them took their job very seriously.
Many trial watchers found the testimony of Boston police officer Kelly Dever fascinating, even shocking. Turns out Paula felt the same way.
Officer Dever was scary, to say the least. She sold—
All right, I'm gonna watch a little bit more of this here, and then we're gonna go on to the something else here.
Vibe of being so desperate and angry to everyone, like a child complaining and fighting with their mom. I mean, I just feel like unsafe to have a person with that level of immaturity carrying a gun among.
Was that Amy? Are you talking about Amy? Amy G. Yeah, she was awesome. Too bad you're blocked, or you would have watched. I think I'm blocked too, actually. I'm a block. Yeah, she was awesome. I loved her accent. Whoops.
Yes.
Dever took the stand on June 2nd, you might remember. She was a defense witness. At the time of Reed's arrest, she worked as a police officer in Canton. On the stand, she was resistant, almost hostile at times, and often answered with long silences. She even said she didn't know why she was called to testify in the first place.
You've never talked to me.
Nobody on the fence seems to talk to me since prior to the first trial. So I don't have any idea why I'm here.
Clearly, Devers' testimony did very little to restore faith in law enforcement. Morgietta, I wonder if that is precisely the reason the defense called this witness, to continue this narrative about bad cops, because if that was the case, it seems as if it worked, at least with Paula.
So I'm going to be honest. I don't think they thought that she was going to be that way on the stand, because remember that day they went to a sidebar really, really quickly and asked Judge Cannoni to treat her as a hostile witness. But as great defense attorneys, they...
Oh, it's good to see you, Gail. It's always good to see you in the chat. I hope you get some good sleep. Let us know if you feel better. Let us know what's going on. We love Gail here. Gail is an amazing person. Gail's been here forever. So always thinking about you, Gail. I hope you get better. I hope you feel better. It's good. It's always good to see you.
Turned that around really quickly, and clearly the jury could see, okay, this person
Night
is
deal, Gail.
starting to do something that I don't think anybody planned for her to do. But you're right, it went directly to the narrative of, we talked about the blue wall, and she clearly conveyed that in her stance, not only in what she said, but...
Did I say hi to Nicole yet? Hi, Nicole. How are you? Good to see you.
how she said it. She said she was trying to protect her career. So that message got loud and clear. And they were already talking about a conspiracy and what the police did and didn't do. So it only furthered that narrative.
Of course, that witness was recanting a story.
I don't think the conspiracy theory was anything to do with this trial. I think that the one of the other jurors said it had nothing to do with it. They went by what the judge recommended for whatever the judge's requirements, and then they just didn't have any evidence. Period. The evidence just wasn't there.
Story about Chief Berkowitz and Higgins being in the salad.
Do you remember any reaction in the courtroom when Devers was on the stand?
Yeah, I wasn't in the courtroom that day, but my colleagues who were there said it was. Remember, she was very early in the defense's case, right? So it was the first really stressful testimony of a defense witness, because former Trooper Proctor's friend was up and had read the text messages, but had been very easygoing about it. Said he didn't want to do it, but was respectful. And
They need to blow up that entire department and start over again, which is my opinion. They're just incompetent, to say the least. All right, let's get out of here. I do want to go to Nova Scotia here. Yeah, Gail's awesome. Gail's amazing. All right, so let me switch gears here. I want to go. This is an interview. This hold on a second. This is the missing kids in Nova Scotia here, and this is an interview with one of the searchers here. I don't know if they've resumed searching out there, but I just wanted to play this here because this is from one of the searchers, and this is pretty interesting here. Here we go.
From everything I've seen, yes. We got the first.
Look at this area here. That's just this is where we remember last week when we covered this. We were right on this road here, and this is the Lansdowne station here. But this is they could be anywhere. This goes on forever here. And then they had pretty sure, was it Hurricane Fiona that was up here not too long ago, last year. So there's a lot of downed trees in here too. So
Call shortly after 11 on Friday morning on the 2nd that there was 2 children lost up here in Lansdowne, and we just deployed the team and got here as fast as we could.
And when you got that first call, did anything stand?
Yes, owls cannot move their eyeballs. They have to move their heads. They did not. Let's see here. Owls can't smell anything either. Okay, so that's who that is. Good to see you. Very good to see you. It's Nova Scotia. Canada.
stand out about that first call as unique or unusual? Or...
It's not common to have two lost subjects in that kind of scenario. So with kids like that, it's not common to have the two. It's not uncommon, so a pair of hikers is overdue or something like that. But with kids, it is a little uncommon to have two gone missing.
Have you found any?
Thank you, Amy. Who's at you at the morning walk? Where are you? It's probably a barred owl. I love my birds. I try not to hit them at night, that's for sure. Because they will literally fly right into your car. Got to block people who report me for no reason. Who reported you? Take Off, eh? That was such a great movie. Strange Brew. I got to watch that again.
Anything?
The only thing that we had was the boot prints that everybody, and we still cannot 100% say that they belong to the children, but that was pretty much the only thing that we had.
You think they're in the woods?
I have not been told anything to lead me to any other conclusion at this point.
Why can't you find them?
They're small, they'd be hiding. They would have crawled underneath something probably when they got tired. They could have gone further than what we searched. There's all kinds of scenarios, unfortunately. So we're on Lansdowne Road. It was in one of the areas that was searched extensively, as you can tell from like the flagging tape in the woods. So when teams are tasked, they get a bearing or a waypoint or both for where they are to start. So they come down into the woods and they'll tie a ribbon so they know where their start point is. And then they start on their compass bearing into the woods. As you can see another flag. So this is where they were going straight into the woods. So they're following their bearing, putting their flag line down and searching at the same time, coming up through all of this stuff.
How much of this is down because of Fiona?
A lot of this is down because of Fiona, and some of it could have come down after the fact, but the vast majority of it was probably from Fiona. So grid searching comes in different types. So we have type 1, type 2, and type 3. A type 1 is fairly open. So if we're looking more for signs of travel or...
yeah, raccoons can be pretty cute. You just referenced Strange Brew this week. That was such a great movie. You kind of have to watch that movie drunk, though, I think. Either way, I just missed a comment in here that I reported you because I was attacked, blocked for no reason. I don't know what's going on in the chat. I may need to take another true crime break. No, don't do that. Did she say werebear? Kids not fighting. Don't make me come back there.
Say larger objects. So if we know they have a backpack or something like that, we can space people out, 10, 20 meters apart. And especially if we think somebody's going to be responsive, so they're going to talk to us when they're calling to us, we'll do open. We were doing closed grid or type 2. So teams were very close together because we were expecting children to be hiding. A lot of children that age range will hide. So if we're 20 meters apart in some of these woods, you can't see 2 feet away from you. Like there would be places where teams would be almost able to touch their fingertips together and they couldn't actually see each other through the bushes. It's that thick in places.
This is a great place to get like mobbed by mosquitoes. Like this, you walk out here, you better have repellent on, man. It's, ticks, mosquitoes, spiders, anything. Mountain lion, bear, you name it.
So how does this
Put it this way, I like everybody in this chat.
compare to what your teams have been dealing with?
This is actually fairly mild compared to some of the areas.
Mild? It looks like such a mess.
It does look like a mess, and you got the thorn bushes and the deadfalls, but there's places that are actually a lot worse. But there are places that are a little bit better as well.
But what would be worse?
Being killed by a bear. That would be pretty worse. Falling down a mountainside and being burnt by a fire. One of those things, yeah.
A lot more deadfall.
Or running into another Canadian.
You can get places where it's just deadfall on top of deadfall on top of deadfall.
I can say that because I'm Canadian. Look at this tree here. Had no chance against Fiona here. This pretty old tree here.
And you literally have to crawl underneath of it or climb over top of it.
You were also saying, though, to the general public, don't come help us. Why did you say that?
We don't want the general public in the area because we use a lot of very specialized assets like canines that are looking for the freshest human scent they can find. So if we have somebody from the public go through an area and we don't know, but we were deliberately waiting to send.
Dino's here. Hey, buddy, good to see you, man. Dino's in the house. What do people think about this? Do you think these kids are still alive or no? How's the OnlyFans? That's what I wanted to know. Are you still driving?
And a canine into that area.
I thought for the longest time this was a Raider hat, but it's it's not.
That canine could get on the track from that person and then.
Like, what the hell is she doing wearing a Raiders hat?
And we've just wasted that resource because once that dog's probably done its track, they're probably exhausted and can't go out and do anything else. And same as drones, if we're flying a drone over the area and we get a heat signature from somebody in an area and we can't identify who or what it is, then we have to send GSAR resources in or police resources to confirm who that is. And in the same breath, a lot of it comes down to training. So our people are trained to look for the little things, the footprints, the pieces of clothing that are discarded, the broken branches, the spots where somebody might have crawled in underneath something and had a nap or something like that. So they're very clue sensitive is what we call it. They're clue finders. So we're not just looking for the two children. We're looking for all the evidence of them going through the area. It's a big part of what we do. So when the boot print was found, we told the team just to send us the coordinates. We got a picture. Yeah, it looks like a children's rubber boot print, which is what we were looking for. Conversed with the incident commander. Yeah, we're going to send. We sent an RCMP canine in first. Then we sent human tracking teams, so like man trackers. So we have members that have been trained to do tracking themselves. We sent them in and we did some grid searching in the area to see, just to follow up. And then the RCMP forensics unit went in and did actually a CAT.
I definitely think that's possible. I think this might be some sort of a kid welfare type thing gone wrong here or something like that. All right.
Cast of the boot print. We did investigate a few wells and mine shafts. The teams came across them in the woods, so they would look in them as best they could. There was one mine shaft we actually ended up flying a drone into to see if there was any sign of anything going in there because it wasn't safe to send people in. And there was no sign of any disturbance or anything inside the mine shaft. So I know they're still doing investigation. Anytime a tip comes in, they follow right up on it. So.
Do you feel it's been searched as well as it can be searched?
What has been searched very well. Very extensive. With over 12,000 hours put in on the search. It's pretty much unheard of in this province. All searches are hard unless we have a good ending, obviously, but some hit closer to home than others do. There was members that couldn't bring themselves to call the names, but other people on the team were, so it wasn't impeding the search effort, but because of personal reasons, they couldn't actually physically call for the names themselves.
They just couldn't say the words.
They couldn't get it out, no, for whatever reason they had. And there was people coming to the end of it that, whether it was physically, they were just exhausted, or mentally exhausted, that couldn't return to the search area as well. So we saw a little bit lower numbers on some of the revisit searches that we did with some of the teams.
For that first weekend search, after, the searches scaled back on May 7th,
yeah,
What were you told when you got that call? Like, why were you going back?
It was actually a conversation. I was meeting with Major Crimes on a regular basis, going through the paperwork from the search and showing them what was covered and what wasn't covered. And it was actually a conversation had between us that, yeah, there's some areas that we would like to go in and get covered off, either better or new areas that we said, well, there's a possibility, so we want to just go search those areas as well. So it's not uncommon for us to go back to a search if we haven't found something.
What prompted then the second weekend search?
Basically the same thing, just more areas that we really wanted to see get covered and just expand out on what we had done.
So just to be clear, it was not as a result of the new information?
It was not, no.
I think it gave some people in the public hope.
Yes.
You know, like, oh, maybe they found something there in that area they're looking. It wasn't that.
It was not.
Mm.
So it was just that we wanted to extend out our search area and cover off areas. Most of these people, they're all volunteers. They just want to find the kids and bring them home. So they're more than willing to keep coming back and keep searching. Unfortunately, at this.
All right. So what happened? Fish, is that? Hold on a second. Fish, it's the fact that I'm Sicilian and not one to mince it. Sicilian is good. Sicilian food is awesome. She's a dude, Dino. Yes, she's definitely. She's a girl, I think. Okay, so.
This point, unless something comes up, we're probably not going to be back. But that being said, somebody could find something that brings us back. Children just bring out the best in people when we're in a situation like this. Everybody just wants to come and do everything they can.
All right, so hold on a second. Let's stop this here. I do want to play one more from this. This is going to come from the grandmother here. I don't know what side of the family she's on, but this is, hold on a second. Grandmother of missing kid shares her story. I'm trying to look into, I don't know, kind of like the family dynamic here a little bit into this. So this is the grandmother of missing kids shares her story and her sons. So 6 weeks after two young children went missing in 2 weeks, grandmother's decided to share her family's story. Belinda Gray is the paternal grandmother to Lily and Jack. So it's the on the dad's side, right? That's paternal. Cody Sullivan's. Okay, so here's the grandmom.
These babies are gone. My heart tells me that. I am the grandmother of Lily and Jack. I am the grandmother on the biological father's side. My son is Cody Sullivan. He's not in jail. He's never been out west. He does not have a criminal record. And right now he's living with me. He has been for 9 months.
How did you find out that Lily and Jack were missing?
The mom of my grandson called me. We were in town.
This is so awful.
She asked if I heard the news. She sent me the article that was on Facebook showing the kids missing. I couldn't call Malay yet, so I waited till we got home. And I called, well, I didn't call her, I texted her. And she told me that, yes, that the kids were missing, that they've been missing since this morning. I was in a state of panic, shock.
I mean, like that searcher said, anything could have possibly happened, but I'm not going to rule out anything at this point, but I think it's, in my opinion, it's kind of 60%. Somebody took the kids who knows the kids. That's just my opinion.
But in the back of my mind, I kept saying, well, they'll find them. I mean, I'm assuming that they'd find.
This is how they do staircases in Canada. It's a ladder. You use a ladder to get up there, then up on the porch, and then you get. This is This is beautiful country, though. I don't know if anybody's been to Nova Scotia. I have a few times. Nova Scotia is awesome. It's cold though. It's very cold.
Find them. So I told her, well, we'll head out first thing in the morning and help with the search. It was around between 3 and 3:30 in the morning. A couple of cop cars pull into the driveway. The lights wake me up that I'm a fairly light sleeper, so I see the cars pull in, so I knew what it was. So they come inside. They only stood in the kitchen. They wanted me to wake Cody up, and they wanted to know when was the last time he had seen the kids, and that they were just making sure that.
So I think I just gave Dom S a wrench. Let me know if that worked.
The kids weren't here, and then they left. So we showed up Saturday morning, me and my sister, and we met up with my daughter, and we started. Well,
It's another one of those cases that I don't think there was an Amber Alert, right? Was there an Amber Alert? I don't think so.
Asked Malaya. I said, Malaya, I said, you know your kids. Nobody knows their kids like their mom. Where do your kids normally go to play out in the yard? What direction do they usually like to explore? And she said, well, they always play up in the little woods right on the side. I said, well, okay. I said, we'll start from that point and we'll work our way out. We had spoken to a search and rescue, and we weren't allowed on the other side because that's where they were searching at the time. So we just started combing through the woods up through there. We were gone for a couple of hours. I'm yelling for Lily and Jack. We always called Jack Jackie boy. And yeah, that went on for a few hours, but those woods, I started to feel that I can't see them being in the woods. There's trees everywhere. You literally have to climb over trees, climb under bushes. It is really, really thick. We come back out and I went in to see Malaya again. I assumed she was in shock. She was very, very non-emotional, very just flat, monotone. But Malaya's very soft-spoken anyway, that she's not usually excitable. I thought that's made her a really great mom. She was an excellent mom. She never raised her kid or her voice at the kids. That it was always, now Lily, what did mommy say? And I used to think, now if anybody's meant to be a mom, it was her. A part of me still feels that.
Why only a part of you still feels that? What do you mean?
Whoops.
After seeing the place, seeing the condition of the home, it was like the total opposite of what I knew of Malaya. She was always clean, very clean about herself, about the kids, about her home. This home looked more like a camp. Now, I don't know if it's from all the people that were there.
Okay, so I do want to do this. Hold on 1 second. I want to do that. Second here. I hope Southern Gal's okay too. I haven't seen her for a while. Gal and Miss Barbara. I haven't seen them around for a while. Thank you, Mustang. So this is Lansdowne Station here. This is Nova Scotia here. So this is where they're talking about. We were on this road here, I think, driving around here last week. And like I say, there's nothing here. There's literally nothing. So those kids could be literally anywhere. But I don't think, Fiona came in kind of in here somewhere. And I don't know, I'd have to look at last year's, whenever the storm came in here to see where it made landfall. But it would make sense that some of this stuff got buried here. But, it's woody. It's very wooded in here. These kids could be anywhere. But I don't think they're there at all. And I'm going to go down in here really close here. There's nothing here. So it's like literally looking for needles in a haystack. There's just nothing here. And if you're looking for cameras or something, good luck. I don't think you're going to find any, I don't even know if there's any cell towers around here. I guess I could probably try to look that up, but, it's not like they're going to have a lot of evidence to go with. But I'll look at that cell phone data stuff, see if there's any cell towers out there. We go back to this here. Hold on one second here. Share screen. Okay, we'll go a little bit more of this, and then I want to go into the Susan Morphew case.
Because I didn't show up till the day.
Look at this.
Day after, but it was very unkempt. I was pretty surprised. Lily is she was my little dream girl, that's the first granddaughter, and I love that she had the brown hair and she had a space between her teeth, which I had when I was a kid. So yeah, she was our little princess. Jack was such a sober, serious little baby that he didn't like to smile. You could tickle him, and he would look ever so serious, like he was really studying you.
And so how long were your son and Malaya together?
3.5 years, I think it was, yeah. I thought they were the picture perfect family. Then Malaya started to tell me that they were having problems and she wasn't happy. She told me that she wasn't happy and she thinks she's going to leave.
I give everybody a wrench in here because if they have channels or whatever, or if they know people who have channels that they can share. Zero Cool is in there. Good to see you. Also, you already have me halfway blocked, Seafood. You're my number one, like zero. So that's why I give wrenches out. All right, so let's go back to this here. Yeah, let's all just please get along in the chat if we can. I try not to pay attention to that stuff, but and if you don't like, what I do sometimes when I go into people's chats and I don't like certain people, I just block them. No, you're doing fine. I like nostalgia. You taking off, Dom? All right, so let's go back to this here.
And I told her that we supported whatever she decides, that one good parent is way better than two broken ones.
And then
I hope you have a good week, Dom. Have a good night. David, that way you don't talk to me. I talk to everybody. I think I talk too much. Yes.
And how did that change your relationship with Lily and Jack?
I thought it was going to change, but it didn't. Yeah, it didn't change. Malaya, she was a sweetheart. Anytime we wanted to see the kids, she'd come by for a visit. She'd bring them by all the time. It was actually really, really good.
So when was the last time you saw the children?
A year and a half, almost. Really, it's about a year and 9 months.
How did you deal with that?
Really, to be honest, maybe.
I think I'm the only one without a wrench. La la la. These two kids, man.
I didn't deal good enough with it. I looked at the fact that when her and my son separated, My son walked away. He chose to walk away, that she wanted sole custody of the kids. So she petitioned the courts for sole custody. And when she did that, he said he was done.
Were you ever formally questioned?
Yes.
So then it's about a month after Lily and Jack are
Of the kids. So she petitioned the courts for sole custody. And when she did that, he said he was done.
Were you ever formally questioned?
Yes.
So then it's about a month after Lily and Jack are last seen that they come and formally question you.
So it's about
a month. Did she just say a month? Hold on a second.
Lily and Jack are last seen that they come and formally question you.
So it's about 3 weeks. They question Cody for an hour and a half in the vehicle, and then they question me for 2 hours in the vehicle.
Don't you think that's strange how they waited 3 weeks to question? Jenny's here. Jenny 8675309 is here. Hey Jenny, how are you? Good to see you. We have missed you. I can't believe Jenny's in here. I can't believe Jenny is in here, and I can't believe Gail was in here. Block yourself. Do us all a favor. Oh, you guys are terrible. That's not nice. Diana is very intelligent. Diana is extremely intelligent person. It's good to see Jenny in here, though. We have missed you, Jenny. Oh my God, it's you, sis. Missed you so much. Absolutely. It's good to see everybody in here. But don't you think it's strange for them not to question her son for 3 weeks? That's weird.
How did that feel to you?
I didn't mind. I mean, to me, I expect I'm the grandmother, so it wasn't a surprise to me. I'm assuming the sooner they do all that, I wish they would have done it sooner, that the sooner they can move on. So I didn't have a problem. My son was a little upset about it. He said they made him feel like he did something wrong, and he said he hadn't seen the kids in 3 years. So he was a little upset about it, that he said that they really come at him hard. They wanted to know what her favorite color was, and he said they were babies when I seen them last. He said she was just learning what.
I actually think that Chuck, necessarily evil, Charles Manson is Charles.
What she wanted to figure out to eat. I don't know what her color is. So yeah, he was pretty upset.
Have they ever talked to him again since then?
A couple of days ago, they had contact, and they told him that they weren't looking his way anymore, that everything was fine.
And have they ever given you any information?
No, it's always the same thing.
Which is what?
They've got everybody on it. They are looking at all avenues.
They don't tell the family anything usually. I really appreciate you guys being here. I'm looking into flights to Africa, to kiss the rains. Absolutely. That'd be awesome. Somebody should write a song about that.
News that can.
It's always good to see Jenny in here.
Information that could compromise their investigation. It's the exact same words.
Why are you so sure they're not in the woods?
I have children. I have grandchildren. And I see what kids are like through the woods. There's no reason for any child to wander deep into the woods. There's just not. I think somebody hurt these kids. I think somebody hurt them.
You don't sound very hopeful.
That's so awful.
No. Our last day searching on Monday and seeing the woods and seeing the searchers and everybody everywhere. There's no way those kids are in the woods. There is nothing more pure and innocent than a 6 and a 4-year-old. And they deserve so much better than what they got.
All right. So that's the end of that. We'll move on to another case. Now, I want to move on to the Susan Morphew case for sure. Africa by Toto. Yep. Great song. Awesome song. Great band. All right. Jenny by I missed you. Yes, we missed Jenny in here for sure. Why is everybody so mad? Good news here is it's going to be 90 Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I think. So let's take advantage of that. Because it probably won't happen for another year. All right, so we're going to go to, I don't know if you guys know about this case here, but I do want to go over this here too, because I think it's about freaking time here. Of course, everybody's, innocent until proven guilty, I guess. But, all right, so let's play this. We'll play this one first. This was done 7 hours ago, then we'll go on to the press conference. So if people don't know about the Susan Morphew case, hold on a second here. We'll get into that a little bit here. Hold on a second.
Good evening, sir.
All right, so this one was done 7 hours ago. So Barry Morphew appears in Arizona court for the first time, waives his right to extradition here. This is not 7 hours. This is East Idaho News here. Barry Morphew appeared in court in Arizona for the first time Friday night and waived his right to extradition. The cash bond was at $3 million. Okay, so here we go, and then I'll pull up the Wikipedia thing so we can go over this. But I'm pretty sure everybody knows about the Susan Morphew case. I've been following this for forever too. So, question I want to know is why did it take so long? But here we go.
Sir, can I get your name and date of birth?
Barry Morphew, 10/17/67.
Thank you, sir. And it does look like you are here today on a warrant from the state of Colorado, and they have indicated that they want to extradite.
Barbara Hall is here. Hey, Barbara, good to see you. It's always good to see Barbara in the house. Barbara's awesome. You're not banned. Nobody's banned. I don't think anybody's banned. Charlie Manson is here. Good to see Charlie Manson in the house. Do you have a big wrench, Dino? I don't know. Why don't you go to? He might have another wrench on his OnlyFans account. But it's good to see Barbara Holland here. Always good to see Barbara here. Hope you're well, Barbara. Just going over the Susan Morphew case now.
Extradite you back to the state of Colorado. Did you get an opportunity to review that laminated card that was given to you today?
Yes.
Okay. So you have a choice to make here today. You have two options, and we're going to go over what your options are. So first, let's discuss what you're here for. There is, again, a warrant from the state of Colorado. They've indicated they do want to extradite you.
I think I've done, 4 or 5 videos at least on this case here, for sure. But most of them were prior to this year, so 2004. I don't think I've done anything on Susan Morphew this year yet.
Back to the state of Colorado related to an offense charge of homicide. In this case, you have the option of stating, I am ready to be returned to the state of Colorado. If you were to choose to do that, you would be waiving your rights to any hearings here in Maricopa County. You say, I'm ready for Colorado to come pick me up. If you choose to do that, you would be held here in the Maricopa County jails, non-bondable, for up to 30 days, giving Colorado 30 days to come pick you up. That 30 days would start tomorrow, so long as you do not have any local pending charges.
The girls, yes. I think the girls are definitely supporting him. No doubt. Show him to you wackos. That's fucking classic.
here in the state of Arizona. In the alternative, I could set a hearing here in Maricopa County on June 30th, 2025 at 1:30 in the afternoon. In this case, you would be stating
He looks a lot older here. Is that just me or?
you want to have an extradition hearing, and before you're extradited back to Colorado, you're demanding that both governors, the governor of Arizona and the governor of Colorado, sign a warrant requiring you to be extradited back to Colorado before you do that. That process takes about 60 to 90 days. That hearing that I would set here in Arizona is civil in nature, meaning you would not be entitled to court-appointed counsel, but you could hire an attorney at your own expense if you would like to for that hearing. If you were to choose that option, you are eligible for bond. In this case, you have a cash-only bond of $3 million. If you posted that bond, you'd have written conditions of release you'd need to comply with. You would also need to ensure you attended that hearing on June 30th. If you failed to appear at that hearing, you would now have a warrant out of Maricopa County. Your Colorado warrant would still be valid, and you would forfeit the bond that you posted. Based on that information, do you know what option you would like to do here today, sir?
To waive.
You'd like to waive your rights here today and go ahead and say you're ready for Colorado to pick you up? Okay. Since we are waiving some important rights, I'm just going to go ahead and ask you some important questions before we do that, and then we will get some of your signatures, okay? So again, I just want to confirm you did read the waiver of extradition paperwork, which was that laminated card?
Yes.
Okay. And you do understand that you do not have to sign this paperwork?
Yes.
And you do understand that you have the right to an extradition hearing. That would be that hearing on June 30th.
Yes.
And do you understand that you have the right to hire a lawyer at your own expense?
Yes.
And do you understand you
Yes, definitely. Justice for Timmy D's. It was 100 degrees there today. That heat is coming this way, I hope. Yeah, that's been happening to me lately too. I think that's they changed that. I think every time you go into a chat now, they put you in the top chat instead of live chat. I don't know why they did that. Shoot, I wish it was hot over here. Pool party tomorrow, and I was supposed to go 65 in rain. That's what it's been like here too. Yes, let's hope Barbara's well.
have the right to demand that a governor's warrant be signed by both governors of each state before
I'm at 80%, and I usually don't go 80% much. This guy here, my opinion, is about 80% guilty.
you're returned?
Yes.
And do you understand that you would have a right to bail, in this case, a cash bond of $3 million?
Yes.
And do you want to give up those rights and sign this paperwork?
Yes.
And has anyone threatened you or promised you anything to get you to sign this paperwork?
No.
And have you had any drugs, alcohol, or medication within the last 24 hours?
No.
I find that you are knowingly, intelligently, and voluntarily signing this waiver, and I am also going to sign it.
Yeah, I don't know why they did that. I don't know why, because it used to be when I used to go in chats, it used to just automatically go on his live chats, and I think they changed that. Yeah, I mean, it's not unusual for family members to side with the surviving parent. I could pull up a stat on that, but I think it's pretty usual. Although sometimes they split. I haven't gotten to talk to her much at all, not for a while. I pray she's okay. It's always good to have Jenny here.
I am directing the Sheriff's Office to notify the requesting state that you are ready to return. The requesting state will have 30 days from tomorrow to pick you up unless you have local charges pending. If you have local charges pending, then the 30 days will not start until the conclusion of that case. Did you have any questions there?
No.
Okay. In just one moment, we are going to ask you to step up here. We're going to need a couple of signatures from you to indicate you are waiving those rights.
Okay, we don't need to see that, but that's the guy there. That's Barry Morphew. So, I don't know what he's doing in Arizona, but okay. So let's switch gears here. I want to go to the press. We'll do the press conference, and then we'll do a couple more things on this here. Sharing that. It's So this will be the press conference here. They spelt this wrong. Look at this. New details released to the new news confernac. This might be Rex Heuermann writing this here. All right, so let's do this here. This is the coming from East Idaho News again. This is the news conference that was announced Friday. And they're going to announce all the details in this. I think they went to a grand jury. The grand jury indicted him finally. Like I said, I don't know what took so long. So here we go.
Attorney here in the 12th Judicial District. Standing behind me is District Attorney Ann Kelly, that is Kelly, who you'll be hearing from shortly. I also have Sheriff from Saguache County, Dan Warwick, Warwick, Chaffee County Sheriff Andy Rorick, ROHRICH, and Colorado Bureau of Investigation Agent in Charge.
Are you okay, Barbara Hall? You need my help? Absolutely. Let me know what I can do. Yeah, we've missed Barbara here for sure.
Chris Adams, ADAMS.
Can anybody hear this?
After District Attorney Ann Kelly's statement, she'll be available for a few questions. Any other questions after that can be directed to media@da12.state.co.us. Thank you.
I appreciate the members of the media that are here today. I scheduled this briefing to provide an update on the investigation that has been in the hearts and minds of the people of Chaffee County since Mother's Day of 2020. Suzanne Morphew was reported missing on Mother's Day 5 years ago. Law enforcement has never stopped working to obtain justice for this mother of two, this daughter, this sister, and this beloved member of the Chaffee County community. Through the tireless efforts of the Chaffee County Sheriff's Office.
Okay, so hold on. I found it. Hold on one second. I've been looking for this all day. Stop screen. Okay, so this is the indictment here. So here we go. 12th Judicial District Grand Jury 2025. So this is so the count one, murder in the first degree after deliberation on or about May 9th to May 10th, 2020 in or triable in the state of California. Barry Morphew unlawfully felonious. So this goes all the way back to 2020, just to let everybody know. But this is the indictment here. Unlawfully, feloniously, after deliberation, and with the intent to cause the unaliving of a person other than himself, cause the unaliving of Susan Morphew in violation of this section here. So, probable cause for count one as follows. At 5:46 on May, I'm going to have to download this here. May 10th, 2000, Mother's Day. It was Mother's Day Sunday. Susan was reported missing by police by her neighbor. The last known person to see her alive was her husband, Barry Morphew. Investigators responded. This is everything right here. Responded to the Morphew residence at 19057. And I have all of these mapped out before. Path near Salida, Colorado, to investigate the missing person report. The house was locked and Susan Morphew was not home. Her vehicle was in the garage, and they edited this out here. Vehicle was in the garage and there were no signs of forced entry, and her bike was missing. So that bike was missing right there, right? Later that evening, her bike was located down a hillside off a dirt road between her house and Highway 50. The bike was located less than a mile from the Morphew home. So you guys can read this if you want to. I'm going to download this here. But this is the actual, I've been looking for this all day here. So this is going to be pretty lengthy. I won't read the whole thing, but it's, I will download this here and I'll kind of skim over the details this week. We'll probably do another live next week on this, but this is, it's strange because they literally found her body with the tranquilizer in it. So it's just, I don't know why it took so long to arrest him, but you know, they have their, I don't know, it's weird, but okay. So we'll go back to this.
The Saguache County Sheriff's Office, the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. I can announce today that the 12th Judicial District Grand Jury returned an indictment. The grand jury has indicted Barry Morphew on the single count of murder in the first degree. Law enforcement.
So hold on. I need to tell Timmy's story. They won't even answer the phone to Mr. Steve. They won't answer his phone. Okay, well, yes, I can do that. We can set up, if you want, you can set up something for next week. If you want to, come on, we can do that for sure. Absolutely. I'm sorry you're going through that. That's terrible. I'm glad to know that Mr. Steve's okay though. Everybody in this chat is awesome. All right, so let's go back to this here.
The Chaffee County community, and Colorado as a whole has never stopped fighting for justice for Suzanne. Cold case homicides are tremendously difficult. They're difficult for the families of the victims and the communities who wait patiently for answers. While it may seem at times that the world forgets about these victims, I can assure you that my law enforcement partners and Colorado's law enforcement community do not forget. Every unsolved murder is a tragedy, and we must never give up on our efforts to find answers in these cases. My office will be prosecuting the indictment as Suzanne's remains were found in Saguache County, which is a county within my jurisdiction, the 12th Judicial District. I am extremely appreciative of Michael Doherty, who is the elected district attorney in Boulder County. He has consistently committed material resources to small rural DA's offices like mine to assist in the sometimes Herculean efforts to bring justice for victims in rural areas of our state. His commitment to rural Colorado with this, he's continued his commitment with this case. He's provided me with the assistance of a chief deputy in the Boulder County District Attorney's Office to assist me with the investigation and the prosecution.
Big Fish is leaving. I hope you have a good week, Big Fish, Small Pond. Thank you. I appreciate that. You guys are all awesome. Good to see you for sure. Have a great week. Stay safe. Arctic Fox has covered the Timmy D's case, I think. Pretty sure. But I will, if you want to set up something with me, something next week, let me give you my email here. I think that's it. So I just put my email in the chat. So if you want to email me, yeah, she was having an affair anyways. I think she was having an affair with somebody from Ohio. I could be wrong on the state, but email me if you want to do that, Barbara. Miss Barb. All right, so it gets back to this here.
Colorado's community of prosecutors is committed to assisting wherever the need arises. In addition to Mr. Doherty's assistance, District Attorney John Walsh of the Denver District Attorney's Office has committed to providing me with appellate guidance during the case proceedings. So today I have with me Chaffee County Sheriff Andy Rorick. I stand united with Sheriff Rorick and Under Sheriff Alex Walker. I stand united in announcing this.
Drop Dead Fred is in here. Good to see you. Good to see Drop Dead Fred. Okay, thank you, Barbara. Anytime you need help, just let me know. If I can help, I'll do it for sure. Necessary Carnage is in here. Yeah, Ohio is gross. They have the Cleveland Browns there. No, I like Ohio. I've been to Ohio a few times. Canton, for sure. Just going over the Susan Morphew case here.
Indictment. Through this process, I have seen firsthand how deeply Sheriff Rorick and Under Sheriff Alex Walker and the entire Sheriff's Department in Chaffee County cares about this case. I am proud and appreciative of our cross-jurisdictional partnership and their hard and excellent work. I also stand with the Federal Bureau of Investigation, who has never wavered in its commitment to this investigation, providing essential intelligence and investigative resources and expertise through the years.
This is another one of those investigations where, because they've already indicted him once, right? They already brought him in and they basically just dropped. This is such a stupid case. It's again in Colorado, right? You gotta think, what is going on with these people? It's just we waited and waited. They got lucky. They found her body, right? And now they waited another, for this indictment? It's just really weird.
I also recognize and appreciate our continued partnership with the Colorado Bureau of Investigation. The Colorado Bureau of Investigation has done incredible work, and their CBI agents and analysts have worked very, very hard to advance the goal of finding answers in this investigation. Here representing the CBI is Agent in Charge Chris Adams with CBI's Pueblo office. I also stand with Saguache County Sheriff Dan Warwick, who is here with me as well. He and his office immediately answered the call to action when Suzanne's remains were found in the county he represents. Sheriff Warwick and his deputies are an essential part of this team, responding to the recovery of Suzanne's remains with the highest level of dignity and professionalism. I also want to continue to recognize what I have come to expect in my years as a prosecutor, and that is multi-jurisdictional and multi-state cooperation and partnership. I want to recognize the Arizona Department of Public Safety, who immediately responded to our team's request for assistance in locating and arresting Barry Morphew in the Phoenix area. Mr. Morphew will be held by Arizona authorities pending extradition proceedings in that state. And upon conclusion of those proceedings, Mr. Morphew will be transported to Alamosa County to stand trial on the indictment. This indictment has been unsealed upon the arrest of Mr. Morphew. I asked for this briefing to provide you with an update and provide information to the community. Me and my team recognize the importance of being laser focused on the prosecution and to speak with one voice. And so for that reason, all of the agencies that have been involved in getting us to this place, as well as the prosecutors that have been willing to assist me in this investigation and prosecution, they have all been instructed to send any media requests to my office. And so that's what I'd ask of you. In an effort to be transparent, I'd like to thank the the Office of the Judicial District in this district for making the indictment immediately available. And so you can get a copy of that indictment on the State Judicial's website. It is linked on a page labeled Cases of Interest, and it's under Alamosa. Barry Morphew is presumed innocent in this case and that presumption remains with him unless and until he is convicted at trial. And so once again, thank you for allowing me to provide an update to the community on this very important case. And I can take a couple of questions if you have them. Yes, sir. And thank you for the question. The question was, what was Barry doing in the Phoenix area? I appreciate the question, and that information was still being gathered. We have been working very, very hard to make sure that we run down anything we can with respect to this investigation, and our law enforcement officers will certainly be following that. Yes, sir.
In the indictment, you noted a pharmacology expert testified that ban would render the recipient unable to resist any constrictions to the recipient's ability to breathe. Do you believe the dosage of ban was so great it killed her, or that she was so incapacitated she was strangled herself?
And thank you for that question. I am looking forward to having our team present all of those facts in a court of law. Obviously, I would like to be able to provide my comments, but my ethical obligations will not allow me to. However, I am very appreciative of the Judicial Department for making that indictment available, and I look forward to having our team present this case in court. Yes, ma'am.
Why now?
That's a great question. And so we, as prosecutors in Colorado and law enforcement in Colorado, we are very dedicated to making sure that we don't forget the victims of cold case homicides. But we also...
No asses as in asses or asses. I read he moved to Arizona. The King Tut song. Get back to this here. Just trying to keep up with the chat too.
Understand that it is so important to make sure that we have done everything.
She's lying her
we can.
ass off. They're going to have a hard time convicting this guy. That's for sure. Because they dropped the case in the first place because I believe it was because of some sort of other person's DNA in the glove compartment or something like that. And so they dropped that because I don't think they felt like they had a good case. They were waiting to find the body, and then they finally found the body. So maybe, who knows? I don't know. But it's going to be an uphill climb because he's loaded and he's got good lawyers. And this is not going to be an easy case for sure.
To bring a case to court. And we are proud of the work that we've done. Every victim of homicide, murder in Colorado deserves that kind of attention, deserves that kind of work from law enforcement. And I would say that having the opportunity to work on these cases and to bring justice for these victims has been very important to me. Yes. Yeah, let me. Yes, sir.
Was Morphew surprised at all? Was he expecting this?
And thank you for that question. The question is whether or not Morphew, what Mr. Morphew's reaction was. And I can tell you that that's going to be part of the case, and we look forward to presenting that in front of a jury. Yes, sir.
So the male DNA was found in Suzanne's car. Are you guys moving forward? Are you guys using that evidence?
So this reporter is asking that very same question that I just asked right now, actually.
And thank you for that question. The indictment has a wealth of information about that particular topic, as well as the probable cause that supports the arrest in this case. And obviously, we are going to do everything we can to make sure that justice is done for Suzanne. And that includes being as...
You got like a $3 million bail. This is such a lengthy indictment here that I'm going to have to go through this. It's how many pages is it? It's, oh my God, it's a lot, and I can't read all that fast. So it's going to take me a while here. So
as thorough as we can about the facts of the case.
Another question. When you arrest Barry in Arizona, so that's still investigating right now with Arizona law enforcement?
So the Arizona Department of Public Safety has been an incredible partner for us. They
what are you having for a snack? I just hope everybody can get along in the chat. That's all.
organized immediately when we
I did put my email in the chat, so if anybody wants to, they can kind of email me. Fred Sass, the mod. Where?
we asked them to respond when we received the indictment. So I very much want to thank the Arizona Department of Safety. What about you, sir?
What will be the biggest difference between the process
Prime rib? Really?
versus back in 2021?
You're having prime rib dinner for the snack? Wow. That's all right, let's go back to this here.
And the question is, what would be the difference between the prosecution of this case and other prosecutions? You know, justice for cold case homicide victims remains a priority in the state of Colorado, both for prosecutors and for law enforcement. And that's despite any challenges that we may have had in the history of any particular case. That remains a priority for us. And so we have worked very hard to
I mean, who shoots somebody with a horse tranquilizer? That's
move forward in the case. This case is a different case, and I would refer you back to the indictment in this case. And we've worked very hard to move forward. Yes, sir.
On an emotional level or on a personal level, and it's okay if you repeat yourself, can you talk about the journey, your journey from the day this was dismissed until today?
rice pudding?
Broad strokes. Just tell us that story.
Well, thank you for that question. The question is, what has this process looked like, essentially? What has this process been like for the family, for the community, for our law enforcement partners?
Yes, let's not bother Heather here. At all. You usually do Cheerios, but prime rib is delicious. Yeah, I mean, I do have some ice cream in that freezer that I'm going to go grab later, though. That's for sure. But I could do prime rib right now. That'd be fine. If everybody could just kind of get along a little bit in the chat, that'd be great.
And I can tell you that it has been a long road. It has been a long road, and the families of the victim have been so patient. The community has been so patient. But I can tell you that our law enforcement officers have never forgot, have never given up, and they have been working so hard to get to the place where we are today. And so it is never enough to say we're just going to forget about it.
You are amazing, Heather, for sure. You guys are all awesome here. I appreciate everybody here from coming in and listening to my bullshit for a few hours. So I just want to let you guys know I appreciate it.
Because it's too hard. And so that has been the process for me. And I'll take maybe one more question here in the front.
Can you elaborate further on where Suzanne's remains were found in relation to Moffitt? I know it was undisclosed. Can you provide more detail about where she was found?
So it was around the town of Moffitt, an important question that I want to address. And so the remains of Suzanne Morphy were found in Saguache County. And that's obviously a county in my jurisdiction. And so jurisdiction in this county is appropriate. I can tell you that I have reached out to and contacted my friend and colleague, elected District Attorney Jeff Lindsay, who currently covers Chaffee County. He is in full support of our efforts to prosecute this case here and has committed to providing any resources that we need to prosecute this case.
How did you know Morphy was in Arizona?
And question.
How did you know Barry was in Arizona?
And I appreciate that question. We obviously have never given up on this investigation, and so we were able to make that determination.
Could anyone else possibly face charges?
Us, and we're committed to working hard to get that done.
Let me see if I can find that. Hold on a second.
And this will be the last question. Thank you so much.
Community perspective, this community's been through a lot with the district attorney's office, and we asked you to take it over and repair it, stand here with law enforcement, something this community might not have seen in the past. We've watched you build a staff. Now we're at the point where we've got all kinds of television cameras here because you've done what you've done in this particular case. Speak to what kind of satisfaction you have and got here. Is the job done with your staff, and can you not?
The question relates to the status of our district attorney's office and how where we've been in the last 3 years. And thank you for the question. The effort that we undertook to come to the San Luis Valley, that I undertook to come to the San Luis Valley and build the district attorney's office was quite tremendous. But I can tell you that.
Okay, so that doesn't mean anything. Let me, I want to do this here 1 second. And then we'll move on to the missing, but hold on, I want to do this because it'd take me forever to find, hold on, my map. But I do have this one here. This is from Daily Mail, I think. So this is basically Colorado here. This is Denver. This is where, so Barry Morphew's location when she vanished. So he was kind of in here. They live as a couple down here with the dog, with, you know, that's where their home was in Salida. There's Aspen, Colorado there. So this is where the body was found. The body was found in a shallow grave near the remote desert. And this is where the bike was found. So this is the home. This is where he claims to have been. They have video of him around here using all kinds of dumpsters to throw stuff in that he claimed was basically just, he's a construction worker here. So he was claiming that he was, I mean, that's just the general rundown, really. And then this is where her bike was found. And it took forever to find her body, but they found it way down here in Moffat, down here. So that's just a little bit of a map there. And I have this somewhere in one of my videos with a little bit more description in this bit here. But so that's the situation. And I'll close this out now. So just to give you a little bit of a map of where all of that stuff took place. Okay, so let's go to the missing. I want to play this here. If you don't like someone that doesn't have a wrench, is it okay to block them? You can block anybody you want in the chat, I think. But I'm just, I don't know. I don't think I've ever blocked anybody. Stop giving me flashbacks, Jenny. I don't know what's going on. Right. So, all right. So I do want to do this Lawrence Steele thing here. Hold on 1 second here. And this is going to come from the missing that we do usually every week. This one here.
The family is desperate to
Whoops.
find out.
So this is the Lawrence Steele disappearance here. I think I might have done one on this too. After renting a room in Virginia, Lauren Steele told her family she was a victim of human trafficking. Following her escape, she told her family she feared she was still being pursued by her predators. Steele was on her way to a treatment center in Las Vegas when she ended up disappearing. So I'll pull up some information on this here. And they're saying that this is a human trafficking victim here. So here we go.
Missing case. A family is desperate to find out what happened to Lauren Steele, a survivor of human trafficking who was set to board a plane to Las Vegas looking for treatment. The flight landed, but there is no record of Lauren being on board the plane. Her family now fearing her past predators may have caught up to her again. News Nation's Nicole Burley takes us inside Lauren's disappearance.
I want to make sure she knows. It's okay. It's okay. That I'm looking for her. I don't want her, if something's wrong, for her to think that we're not looking for her.
Lauren Steele left her home in Carlisle, Pennsylvania last August. She told her family she had been trafficked and was fleeing her predators. She was heading to Las Vegas for a program that would provide her some rehabilitative care for what she'd experienced as someone who'd been trafficked.
She was excited about going to this program and really looking forward to it.
Lauren had rented a room in Virginia from an ad she'd found. She discovered after renting the room that she was in trouble.
She is just so, like I said, trusting and wouldn't think anybody would do that. You know, it's like, Lauren, you got to be careful. You're a pretty girl, you know, but oh, stop it. You are so worried. You know, you worry too much. People won't do that.
But her family said she told them the men she rented a room from were traffickers.
She said they were tracking her phone, they were tracking her, and you know, when they go out, they had a door lock on the outside of the other door.
Lauren notified the FBI, but her family said nothing came of it. She was able to break free, but then lived in fear that she'd be found again.
So she kept moving around and changing her phone number.
We love you too, Paula, for sure. All right, so I'm going to read a little of this here without changing the. So, a survivor of human trafficking was on her way to get treatment, but after her flight landed, there was no trace of her on board. Now her family fears predators may have found her again. Lauren Steele left her home in Carlisle, Pennsylvania last August, telling her family she had been trafficked and was fleeing her captors. She told her family she was heading to Las Vegas for a program that would provide rehabilitative care for what she had experienced. They don't say where, though. She was excited about going to this program, looking forward to it. Lauren Steele had previously rented a room in Virginia after finding an ad. But after renting the room, she discovered she was in trouble. Her godmother, Dorothy Field, said Steele was a trusting person. She would think anybody would do that. She wouldn't think anybody would do that. It's like, Lauren, you've got to be careful. And she's like, oh, stop it. You are worried. You worry too much. People won't do that. But her family said Steele told them that the men she rented a room were traffickers. Maybe I will share this. Hold on 1 second here. This is coming from Yahoo here. So this is where, but her family said Steele told the men she rented a room from were traffickers. So this is December 14, 2017 here. Lauren Steele was traveling to Las Vegas for treatment. Lauren Steele told her family she was a victim of human trafficking. There was no proof Lauren Steele arrived in Vegas. She said they were tracking her phone. When they'd go out, they'd had a lock on the outside of the door. Lauren Steele notified the FBI, but her family said nothing came of it. Steele was able to break free, but lived in fear that she'd be found again. She kept moving around and changing her phone number, and she was afraid that the people would harm her or her family. On August 5th, 2024, Steele was scheduled to fly from Pennsylvania to Las Vegas to get the help she needed. However, her flight was delayed due to weather. What kind of weather? And the airline accommodated her by putting her up in a hotel. She said she was at a hotel and there was a man outside to help make sure she got to the airport, make sure she got on the plane. We don't know who the man was, where the man came from, anything. That was the last time her family heard from Steele. So that's kind of like a breakdown. What they do know is that Steele's phone took a flight from Pennsylvania to Chicago to Las Vegas. But authorities say there's no proof that Steele had her phone on those flights. Missing person cases are common in Las Vegas. 300 adults go missing every month. Really? All right, let's get back to this here. Does anybody know where the clinic she was going to?
And she was afraid that these people would harm her or her family.
On August 5th, 2024, Lauren was scheduled to fly from Pennsylvania to Las Vegas to.
Does she know this? I mean, oh, I love you too, Paula, for sure. We need giggles, for sure. Tonight we need giggles in the chat. What the heck is this story? I know I just came. Obviously, I haven't done anything on this yet. Oh, thank you, Miranda. You're awesome. Yes, Sherry Papini. Who's Sherry Papini? Sherry Papini. Yes, that's the one there. Yep.
To get the help she needed. But the flight was delayed due to weather conditions, and the airline put Lauren up in a hotel.
She said that she was at a hotel and there was a man outside to help make sure she got to the airport, make sure she got on the plane. We don't know who the man was, where the man came from, anything.
That was the last time her family heard from her. What they do know is that Lauren's phone took a flight from Pennsylvania to Chicago to Las Vegas. But authorities say they have no proof that Lauren was with her phone on those flights. Missing persons cases are common in Las Vegas. 300 adults go missing there every month.
I just want them to go there or Las Vegas police check into these things or follow up if there was a tip. But they're not going to do anything, I guess, because we can't prove that she landed. Does anybody have proof that she physically landed there besides her phone?
Pennsylvania State Police have classified Lauren as missing and endangered because of medical and mental health problems. Her brother believes she's still alive, but being trafficked somewhere. Her family says if someone spotted her, she could be identified by her tattoos.
How many people are buying this story? That's a good question. Not Papini. I know there was another one too, right? No, this one, damn, I feel like it was another country. This is a really strange thing here. Does anybody buy this? So I'm just going to read this here. This is coming from Crime Solver Central here, so I don't know how actual this is. Background and personal history. Lauren Steele's life has been a testament of survival. Originally from New York, she relocated to Virginia before settling in Pennsylvania. Why does everybody settle in Pennsylvania? Within the year preceding her disappearance. A survivor of human trafficking, Lauren faced numerous challenges, including mental health issues and struggles with substance abuse. These aspects of her life paint a picture of a woman striving to overcome significant obstacles. I wonder if she's ever had some sort of a, I don't want to, can I say that, psychological evaluation here? All right, let's go back to this. Paradox is here. Thank you, Heather. Good to see Paradox in here. Let's go back to this here. Where am I? Right here. Okay.
On her forearm, thigh, and torso.
I just want to make sure she's not in somebody's basement.
Good to see Paradox in here. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Let me do some real Brazil. I think I know who you're talking about. Awesome. Thank you very much for helping out. Appreciate it. Always good to see you.
Chained up and being tortured every day. I mean, if she's somewhere and it's on her own, I'm okay with that. If that's what she wants, but I don't know that.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our News Nation.
All right, sorry about that. That was very loud. Sent you an email. Thank you, Barbara. All right, so let me. So I got a little bit more information on this. Hold on a second. Eleanor Williams. That sounds familiar. Okay, so this is missing persons. Missing from Carlisle, Pennsylvania. So that's, I'll look that up in a second. Missing since August 5th, 2024. So that was about 10 months ago. Age 30, so she's 36. This is coming from the state police here. Steele is a survivor of human trafficking. Told friends and family she was going to an unknown. Okay, so we don't know where she was going. Treatment center, a victim in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'll have to look that up too. She is originally from New York, but previously resided in Virginia. She moved to Pennsylvania. We read that, suffers from various mental health issues and known to abuse drug and alcohol. So oh, here, there's a map right here. Area missing from. So that's right near Harrisburg. Okay. So that's where she's missing from. That's it. That's it. That's all they have. Discussion? Nothing. Zero. Okay. There's nothing else on this at all. It was human trafficking. Told friends and family she was going to an unknown. I wonder what the I wonder if that place even exists. That's so weird, right? Like I don't know. It's very strange. There's nothing. I don't think there's anything else on this here. So let's go to this Brian Kohlberger thing, and I'll figure out something else. All right, so hold on a second. We'll go to the Brian Kohlberger thing. I got to look into that Lawrence Steele case because that's weird. It is crazy. It's very, very crazy. And there's no other information. Hold on a second. Okay, so we'll go to Brian Kohlberger here. Who's your daddy's here? Where's he? Who's your daddy's right there? Good to see you, buddy. We've been okay. Owl needs to take most things wrench. I just hope everybody gets along. That's all I care about. DoorDash driver and a new witness. Yes, right here. Okay, so this was done a couple days ago, 3 days ago. Brian Enton reports from Boise with a major update in the Idaho case. They're trying to push this case off again a little bit more. They're claiming that they need more time because they keep coming up with more evidence and more witnesses. So obviously the defense is gonna, and I'm a big fan of Ann Taylor. So, you know, anytime they get new evidence and new whatever, they're gonna ask for more time. So I think they could do it up to 3 times.
Opening statements in the Idaho quadruple murder trial. And if you thought things couldn't look any worse for Brian Kohlberger with, you know, the DNA and the cell phone data and the surveillance video and an eyewitness description of his eyebrows, at least, not to mention the laughable alibi, I like stargazing at 4 o'clock in the morning with my phone turned off. I know, I kind of thought that too, until what I heard today. A smoking gun that both sides somehow managed to keep under wraps for months. There is apparently another eyewitness. It's the DoorDash driver who delivered food to Xana Kernodle less than 10 minutes before Xana and her boyfriend, Ethan Chapin, and Xana's housemates, Maddie Mogan and Kaylee Gonzalez, were all savagely murdered by an intruder. Police have confirmed to us that a woman seen in some of the interrogation footage from an unrelated incident is a 43-year-old woman known only as MM in the court documents. She was arrested that day for a DUI while being questioned at the Pullman, Washington police station. Just happened to reveal to the officers that she had to, quote, testify in a big murder case here because I'm the DoorDash driver, end quote. When the officer asks which murder case, the woman says, quote, the murder case with the college girls. I'm the DoorDash driver. I saw Brian there. I parked.
You're probably the only smart one in here, Jenny. That's too funny. No wrench, Dave. Thanks. That's awesome. That's the best. That's the best chat of the night right there. It's sorry, guys. The chance he's innocent. There's a chance everybody's innocent, right? Do you mind giving Jenny a wrench?
Right next to him, end quote. And I think I need to read that last part again because I did a double take when I first saw it. I saw Brian there, she says. I parked right next to him. That interrogation video was posted on a YouTube account where it was discovered by web sleuths and journalists. It's unclear, though, whether the woman's outing will affect the start date of the trial itself. The defense has been pushing for a delay for weeks now, but that's over the media leaks, the whole Dateline episode kerfuffle. And that is due to be the subject of a big hearing tomorrow. But the prosecutors want the trial to...
They have a huge rivalry there between Washington and Idaho in football. So I wonder if they met. I said this a while ago. I wonder if they met. I don't know what's going on with my computer right now. At a college football game. But I think he's kind of guilty too. I'm about 70% on him there.
Stay on target for the planned August.
This lawyer here, Ann Taylor, is amazing. I think what she's going to try to do is if she can, because everybody on the planet thinks this guy's guilty, she's going to try to get the DP removed. And I think that's about as good as she's going to be able to do.
11th beginning. Our senior national correspondent, Brian Enton, is in Boise, Idaho tonight with much more on what all of this means. First of all, I did not see this coming. A second eyewitness.
Yeah, this is a bombshell, Ashley. If it is true what this DoorDash driver is saying, then this is a bombshell. I came to Boise thinking that the hearing tomorrow was going to be the big story, but this.
I always just, I'm always suspicious of people coming at the very end as witnesses, or as people who come up with new evidence or whatever. As soon as the trial starts to get closer and closer and closer, I have mixed emotions about that. I think people sometimes are just looking to, what's the word I'm looking for? People introduce themselves into cases all the time they have nothing to do with. And it's not unusual for people to lie and fib just to get themselves into the spotlight a little bit. I'm just saying.
This is big. The Idaho Statesman was the first to break it today. Basically, this DoorDash driver, who we knew existed, by the way. We've known for a long time there was a DoorDash driver, that she goes by MM. She's been referenced in the court documents. We knew that she arrived there to deliver DoorDash at 4 a.m., about 10 minutes or so before the murders. But what we didn't know is what is in this body camera video. And
Does Who's Your Daddy have a channel? Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's guilty too. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't there, but if I had to, 70% is pretty high for me as far as I usually go by a percentage. So 70%, I don't think I've ever been like 100% unless it's been like a Chad Duerman case or, yeah, no, I don't think Karen Reed's guilty at all. That's just me. But I think this guy's probably guilty. I will say, every time I see this house, I'm like, how can somebody build something like this? This is just weird. This whole setup here is just weird. Here's the staircase here. It's just so. If you're gonna do something to somebody or rob somebody, this is the house to do it. Nobody would ever see you.
Explain this a little bit. You did, Ashley, but the reason we know about this is because last year, this DoorDash driver, totally unrelated to the Brian Kohberger case, she got pulled over, suspected of driving under the influence.
So we know it's a she now. The DoorDash driver's a she. Is that what he just said? I knew this DoorDash driver would be critical, like critical witness, because they almost probably got there at the same time.
She had a expired tag, suspected of being. The reason we know about this is because last year, this DoorDash driver, totally unrelated to the Brian Kohberger case, she got pulled over, suspected of driving under the influence. She had a expired tag, suspected of being under prescription pills, and she got pulled over, and she just started volunteering this information to the police while she was being interviewed, and it's on body cam. And she said that she's the DoorDash driver from the Brian Kohberger case, that she saw Brian Kohberger, which is really the headline here, that she's a witness who saw Brian Kohberger, and all of this just happened to come out through this new body camera video from Pullman, Washington.
So, Brian, you take us back to the house, but we're going to have to describe it because the house has been torn down. But if you look at the front of the house, there's a parking lot out front where all the cars were lined up, and they stayed that way till they were all towed. But this DoorDash driver said, I parked next to him, which makes me wonder if she's talking about the parking lot out front, or if she's talking about that side street off to the left where that bushy tree is, that big, tall, bushy tree is just adjacent to the red car there. Because there's a side street that goes up that left-hand side of the house. And isn't it
Yeah, it's a very
that the killer used? Yeah. Walk me through that.
A video of Judge Judy had her fill of drunk cases. She was done, no doubt. Oh. 27 likes. Thanks, guys. Appreciate that. Of the stop. Yep. Yeah, I saw it earlier. Nah, he parked behind the trash cans. Um,
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. There was someone talking in my ear. Yeah, it's a very, very important part of what she said. Not only that she said, I saw Brian Koberger, but I wrote this down. She said, I parked right next to him. Now, you think about DoorDash. We all order DoorDash. A DoorDash driver.
the DoorDash drivers being stopped.
Typically would park right in front of the house where they're delivering the food. They pull into the driveway. You see them in the driveway. They get.
Okay, hold on a second. I need to hear this again.
I parked next to him, which makes me wonder if she's talking about the parking lot out front or if she's talking about that side street off to the left where that bushy tree is, that big tall bushy tree is just adjacent to the red car there. Because there's a side street that goes up that left-hand side of the house. And isn't it
Yeah, it's a very,
believed that the killer used? Yeah. Walk me through that.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. There was someone talking in my ear. Yeah, it's a very, very important part of what she said. Not only that she said, I saw Brian Koberger, but I wrote this down. She said, I parked right next to him. Now, you think about DoorDash. We all order DoorDash. A DoorDash driver typically.
See, that's what I mean. That's like I said, I think they probably got there at the same time because they said around 4-ish, right? So, you know,
would park right in front of.
and a lot of times DoorDash drivers have cameras on their car. So I wonder if she, not all the time, but if you're a smart DoorDash driver, you probably have some sort of a driver cam or on your car just so you don't get ripped off.
Of the house where they're delivering the food. They pull into the driveway. You see them in the driveway. They get out. They go to the front door. They give the customer the food. Why would the DoorDash driver drive onto the side?
Bushy trees, bushy eyebrows. He did it. Oh my God. Yes, don't forget the GoFundMe that's scrolling across the bottom here. Yes, I think he's facing the DP for sure.
Side street of the house, which with the murder house, you've got the front of the house, you've got the driveway like you described it, but then you've got this side road that goes up the side near an apartment building. You can't even the driveway like you described it, but then
Did you see the red Jeep? Right there.
Which with the murder house, you've got the front of the house, you've got the driveway.
It's the red Jeep.
Like you described it, but then you've got this side road that goes up the side near an apartment building. You can't even walk down to the house you'd have to go through the woods unless you walked all the way around if you went to the side road. We don't know exactly where Brian Koberger parked, you know, if he's guilty of all this. They've never said that in any of the documents. We know that he's caught on camera going up there and going up towards the house, but we don't know exactly where he parks. But if she's saying that she parked right next to him, does that mean that he parked right in front of the house, that he just pulled right in the driveway and then went in for about 10 minutes to commit these murders? We don't know, but it's certainly interesting to think about.
That's what I wondered. And then also just with the pictures we're looking at now, again, I'm always so sad when I see those cars parked out front behind the yellow police tape, because it's sort of the vehicle's frozen in time from the kids who would never come back to use their own vehicles until their parents or their loved ones took those vehicles away. But it certainly doesn't look like there's a whole lot of room, which made me wonder if this DoorDash driver parked out front on the street, knowing, well, I can't go into this little parking lot. I'm just going to have to park out here on the street, which now would make a little more sense. If Brian Koberger did this, if he's really the killer, he might be surveilling from a little farther away, not so obvious, and out on the street. But that's the only thing I can think of, because as you said, going up that side road, it's really hard to get access to the house. As a DoorDash driver, you just wouldn't go up that side road to the side of the house.
Yeah, the whole thing up there is tight and confusing. The layout when you drive up is very, very strange and tight. We would always have a hard time finding a place to park up there. There's a little bit of parking on the street there, but it's difficult. It's hard to get in there. So
Jingles is here. Hey, Jingles, how are you? Good to see you. Welcome to the chat. Enter at your own risk, I guess. I don't know what to tell you. Why are men so weird? I think men are just dumb. Marriage is so 80s. That red Jeep gets around. Remember the red Jeep? That was classic. I can't believe people bought that. Yes, it's good to see Jingles in here. Always good to see Jingles in here. Tracy, he's been gone a long time. I was married once. I second the dumb comment. Yeah, absolutely.
There's a place where maybe a DoorDash driver could have just pulled off without going fully into the driveway and like put their flashers on and run up with the food. But it's hard to imagine that Brian Koberger just parked right in front of the house.
The DoorDash driver drove right up, right to the door. Now I need to find out whether or not the food was brought in or it was left at the door. I still don't know that, but according to them, it happened around, they said around 4-ish, right? So we don't know exactly the time.
To say I'm a little skeptical of this whole story. Just the way that it came out through the body camera video, the fact that in all of the police documents that we've been able to see in the probable cause, we knew there was a DoorDash.
Absolutely. Why buy the cow when you get the milk for free? I can't get anything for free. Yes, Heather Brown's GoFundMe is down there, scrolling across. Heather Brown is just an amazing freaking person. She's always welcome here in the chat. We miss her when she's not here. She's just awesome. She's an awesome person. We love Heather to pieces here. I was married once. No need to repeat that mistake. Exactly. There's a video of the DoorDash driver getting stopped. Thank you. Yeah, see, the thing about them change, I mean, I don't think the defense pushed back much on that. I don't think they had really much of a choice because I'm pretty sure didn't the college buy that house? Yeah, I don't blame them. Can you blame women for not wanting to get married? I don't.
Driver, Ashley, but if they had a real credible witness who saw Brian Koberger at the house, that is huge. How would we not know that by now? It's possible it's just like a bombshell that they're saving for the trial.
He had a little bit too much coffee in this interview, I think. He's I like him, but he's starting to get, I don't know what goes on with these investigators. They get I don't know, little sensational over time, I should say.
But don't you think maybe that would have been in the probable cause or in all these court hearings that we've been to where we get new little nuggets? I would have thought maybe we would have heard about
Women are on strike.
I can't believe that it wasn't even a whisper rumor. You're right, especially with all the reporters that descended upon the story, finding every DoorDash driver in town. I know that we try to reach every DoorDash driver in town, but the problem is everybody, does side hustles with DoorDash. So it could have been anybody. And that was the problem with actually trying to find the person who did deliver the food that night. Okay, the question about this person in particular.
Good to see you. My name is Maple. Thank you for coming in. Appreciate it. It's good to see you. You never use DoorDash? Never will? I did it Lyft a couple of weeks ago. I had to get a because where I live you can't get a cab, so and it was one of the best experiences ever in my life. It was the easiest thing I had to do. I did it all with my phone. I just called them. They showed up in like 8 minutes, and then it was like a $10 ride, and that's it. It was awesome. Oh, I know. I was buying the car. I thought it was going to be, really painful, but it was actually really pretty easy.
MM. the woman in particular who's, told the police, I'm the one who's going to have to testify in this case. I'm the DoorDash driver. I can't imagine what it's like to be her, because she had nothing to do with any of this. I'm sure she wants nothing to do with any of this. Like, the stress and the frustration that this would have brought to her life, I'm sure, is unthinkable. But she also may have the credibility issues, especially if there's a DUI in play, or, drinking, and she seemed to say on the body cam, it isn't the first time.
Yeah, and look, I feel terrible for her too, Ash. I mean, the fact that we've confirmed she is the DoorDash driver, and she was there at 4 a.m. just minutes before this brutal slaughter happened. That's a hard thing to deal with, I'm sure. And I feel very, very sorry for this woman. But in terms of credibility, I've seen the body camera video. She's pulled over, she's crying, she's had DUI in the past. They take her back to the station. She's emotional.
Yeah, I'm never going to have another man in my house either. Believe me, one of me is enough for a lifetime, literally. You haven't had a vehicle in years that runs? I know when I lived in Massachusetts, I didn't need a car. A lot of bigger cities, you don't need cars at all. There's no need to. I am kind of married, but I'm not married. Yeah, how do you get around?
She's distraught, and she says, I'm the witness, and she's just telling this cop that I'm the witness from the Brian Koberger case. I'm the DoorDash driver. I saw Brian. I parked right next to him. I'm just wondering, was she was really the DoorDash driver, but like maybe
Doesn't he sound like he's on like some sort of a drug here? He seems a little bit more sort of edgy than he normally is.
Thinks that she parked right next to him, but it wasn't actually him. I don't know. I just think about the credibility. And I go back to the point that how is this the first time we're hearing this story? And it's through this means, through a body camera video that's totally unrelated of this woman in a very, very desperate situation after she gets pulled over for DUI.
So what do you think, just in terms of this hearing tomorrow? Look, like you said, your your
phone,
focus
kinda married
was
and not
all
married.
about
That's funny.
the Dateline leaks and how the defense is just sort of apoplectic about how this information.
So we're technically engaged. We've been engaged for, I don't know, about 20 years. So technically we're married, but technically we're not. So if that makes any sense to you, that. Yeah, Heather's been on here before. She just doesn't like me, so she doesn't do much with me at all. So it's, I mean, what's there to really like? So she usually sees that. No, really, the issue is I work at night, she works during the day, so we're kind of like, kind of like. I don't think there's anything like that here. No, I don't think there's common law here in New Hampshire. Yes, her name is Heather. Yes. That's why I like Heather so much. Heather's a great name. Yes, it's all over the place. I don't know, ask her. Pretty sure you'll get a different answer.
And got out from under the gag. Now
She'll probably tell you he just won't leave. I keep telling him to leave and he won't leave.
there's this, and it's out there. It's not a leak. It's just, people put things together. Is this going to have an effect potentially on tomorrow's hearing and the issue at hand, which is a delay in the upcoming August?
I can't believe Dino's still here. Isn't your phone going to start to run out of battery anytime soon? I love the name Heather. That's an awesome name.
August start.
I don't think so. I suspect this will not come up at the hearing. I do think it's going to be a bombshell hearing. I think it's going to be a really interesting, juicy hearing. I think that The judge is going to have to hear both sides about whether they want to delay. And I think he'll probably make a decision because they've already filed their briefs with their reasoning. But what I'm more interested in is at the last hearing, Ashley, you remember, he talked about wanting to bring on a special prosecutor to do an investigation to sniff out who the leaker is within law enforcement and figure out who leaked that information to Dateline. I think we're going to get an update on that. Are they going to bring in a special prosecutor now to have, I mean, could there be criminal charges? Have they figured out who this person is? They may have.
I don't think this is going to be as easy of a case as people think it is. I'm telling you, Ann Taylor is a great freaking lawyer. And if she can't do this, then nobody can. But I think that she's going to do everything she could possibly do to get this reduced to a lifetime sentence. I think that's what, but with any jury trial, man, you just never know. You just don't.
Even figured it out by now. I'm very interested in all of that, which is gonna come out at this hearing tomorrow, Ashley.
Have you been, and listen, everything in this case has been difficult to learn, but have you heard any rumblings of an investigation already? Like, have they been ferreting out who's spoken with whom? Have they confiscated cell phones and that sort of kind of, I hate to even suggest it, but asking people within the investigative circle, hand over your phones or we'll subpoena them and we'll search your history.
Well, we know that they asked everyone involved in the case and everyone in law enforcement involved in the case to save all of the records in their cell phones and emails so that they could go back and try to figure out who this leaker is. In terms of how the investigation has progressed, we don't know. That doesn't surprise me, though. I mean, this judge is serious, and he was serious before, and people were nervous to speak out before. I'll tell you, after the last hearing, I don't think we're going to know anything about that investigation. I think people are nervous.
Jimmy's awesome. Dino's phoning it in.
Which is why I think it's going to be interesting tomorrow to finally find out what's been going on behind the scenes here, and will they in fact delay the trial because of this allegation into the leaker?
Wow.
Not leaker again. We don't need another leaker. Leaker.
And then this weirdness that just sort of crops up the day before the hearing.
Yeah.
Okay, well, obviously, don't make plans at this time tomorrow night, Brian Engine. You're the lead guest once we hear how the hearing goes. Thanks.
So that's the end of that one. What's this here? Mystery Witness. Which one do you want to watch? Drops bombshell. Let's do this here.
The man accused of killing 4 Idaho college students is set to face a jury. This is going to take place in just a few weeks, and Court TV will be there for it all.
How many people think this trial gets delayed? Lee Kerr. Yep. Remember that guy? Amy, you ever check the food for free?
Right now, jury selection is set to begin July 30th, but his attorneys are fighting to have the trial delayed. Kohberger returned to court yesterday for a hearing on the defense's motion to push back the trial start date. We'll bring you that hearing in just a moment.
But first, let's start with a look at the timeline of events inside the house in Idaho on the night of the murders. Here's Court TV lead anchor Vinny Politan.
The roommates of 1122 King Road went out on November.
That's Stinker. Oh my God. That's what the Edmonton Oilers did, is Stinker. Yes, it's like 100% right there. Absolutely. That is like the truest statement ever. Dino, what kind of phone do you have? He has the ones that run out of batteries.
12th, 2022.
Kaylee and Madison arrived home at about 1:56 a.m. after visiting a local bar and street food vendor. Ethan and Xana were at the Sigma Chi house before
This is the sad news. They were both Steeler fans. That sucks.
arriving home. The 2 surviving roommates had also been in the community but returned around 1 a.m.
By 3:30 a.m., everyone is back at home, and a white sedan prosecutors say was driven by the defendant is caught by a neighbor's surveillance camera driving by. 3 minutes later, the same car drives past the house heading out of the neighborhood. Then at 3:38 a.m., the driver does a second drive.
Canadians next year, brother. They'll bring your Stanley Cup home for you.
By. At 3:56 a.m., the car passes by the house for a third time, in and out of the neighborhood.
These were just girls that went to sleep that night, and
Maybe you'll get a new cell phone for Christmas, Heather. Clamshell phone. I have a shoe phone. Stanley Cup. Yep. You guys watch hockey over there in Washington? Asking for a friend. Do they have a team in Washington? It's probably the Vancouver Canucks, right?
he was stalking them. He was hunting them.
At 4 a.m., a DoorDash driver drops off food that Xana Kernodle.
It says 4 a.m., but that's not what they said. They
ordered.
They said around 4-ish a.m. So
At 4:04 a.m., the suspect drives up the street toward the house again. Dylan told investigators it was around that time when something woke her up. It sounded like Kaylee playing with her dog upstairs. Xana's phone records show she is awake and on TikTok at 4:12 a.m.
Didn't one of the initial people say that everybody was sleeping? Seattle Kraken, is that a new team? Well, how do I not know about this? Either state I wouldn't know. Okay. Nothing like the hockey playoffs are like the best. Stanley Cup is the best sport. Other than football, of course. But the Stanley Cup is awesome.
A surveillance camera picks up audio of a thud, voices, and a dog barking at 4:17 a.m. Dylan hears one of the girls say, "There's someone here." She also hears crying and a man say, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." Sometime between 4 o'clock and 4:20 a.m., she opens her door a few times, and at one point sees a man with bushy eyebrows walking past her room and towards the back.
This is the problem I have with this statement from this witness here. She didn't mention anything about a knife, so I don't know what the knife is at this point. Now, if he left a sheath behind, is he carrying the knife? Is that knife in his pants? That's a pretty good sized blade to be just carrying in your pants. And I don't know. It just doesn't seem, it seems strange to me how she doesn't notice this guy carrying a knife.
Sliding door.
She described this person as being white, male, wearing all black, a few inches taller than her. She's 5'10", wearing a mask, skinny, athletic.
If he's holding the knife, then there's blood dripping on the floor. My opinion. And if he's holding his knife, doesn't he realize that he doesn't have the sheath? My opinion, he might have had two knives. Coveralls he wore to keep the blood off had no belt loop. I don't know. Something I would ask in court if I was the defense to the witness. Did you see a knife? Did you see a knife on him? Did you see anything about a knife? Because that K-bar knife is a pretty good sized knife.
Tone.
I know one thing, I wouldn't want to be walking around with that thing in my belt loop or pant leg, especially in the dark.
Build.
Dylan calls and texts her roommates, but she's only able to reach Bethany. At 4:20 a.m., the car is seen on surveillance video again, this time leaving at a high rate of speed. Between 4:22 and 4:26, Dylan and Bethany send a flurry of text messages to each other. No one is answering. I'm freaking out right now. Run down here. Dylan runs to Bethany's room, and on her way, she sees Xana lying on the floor of her bedroom. News Nation spoke with Kaylee's father about this.
I just imagine her.
No, I think he was walking by the witness to head out the door. So he had already dropped the sheath. The sheath was already, if you believe that the sheath was lying on the bed underneath one of the victims, then that sheath was already there. So I don't know how he doesn't realize that he doesn't have the sheath. He's got to be like completely wrapped up in what he just did to not know he doesn't have the sheath. Now, if he had two knives, like one in a shoulder harness, maybe he put it back in there. Who knows?
Booking her tail off, going down those steps as fast as she possibly could, seeing something at the side of her eyes, and just running all the way down the step.
At 4:32 a.m., Dylan sends a text to Kaylee. Please answer. For the next 7 hours, Dylan and Bethany got on their social media, slept, and kept trying to reach others in the house. At about 11:50 a.m., they call two friends to come over and help check the house. That's when 911 is called.
911 location of your emergency. Something is happening. Something's happening in our house. We don't know what. One of the roommates has passed out, and she was drunk last night and she don't wake me up. Oh, and they saw some man in their house last night.
Now, we're learning more details about the investigation into Bryan Kohberger, including the DoorDash driver that Vinny just mentioned, who says she saw Kohberger near the house that night.
That 44-year-old woman told police after a traffic stop last year that she may be called to testify in this high-profile trial. Her conversation was captured on body camera video.
I think it's almost impossible for the DoorDash driver not to see him. Like it's almost like they both got there at the same time, or they were both around there at the same time. I mean, it's the lack of proper investigation is horrible. I agree with that 100%. I agree 100% with that. And it's happening more and more, even with advancements in technology. It's just so weird. It's the same amount of people that get, arrested and thrown in prison innocently. It's the same amount, 6 to 7%. I think it is like it's up to 6 to 7%. I think. So it still happens.
Let's take a listen to that.
And then now I have to testify. So yeah, because I'm the DoorDash driver, so yeah. You have to testify in which murder? Murder case for the college girl. Oh.
Anita's here. Hi, Anita. How are you? Good to see you. Where's Jack Ruby? It is money. It's money, and it's just they enjoy getting sued. They enjoy, and that raises the price for taxpayers. I mean, anytime they have to get sued when they falsely imprison somebody, I mean, they get sued for millions of dollars, and they don't care. It doesn't come out of their pocket. It's the taxpayers that do that. So they just need, and I'm not dumping on cops. Cops have a pretty hard job, but better investigations for sure, especially in certain states, because some states are worse than others. Indiana's one of them.
All right, let's bring in our guest this hour to discuss trial attorneys Cannon Kearney and Mackenzie Joy Brennan. And Mackenzie, I want to start with you. We have this new footage of this DoorDash driver that we've heard about since the beginning. In the video, she says that she'll likely be called as a witness. But to me, Kelly, what stands out is that she says that she saw Bryan near the house.
Good to see you, Anita.
that night. And now, not only do we have the DNA on the sheet that was found in the house, now we have potential witness testimony about placing him at the scene of the crime. How does that change the tide of this case?
Boy, I think everything that we've seen progressively has really connected him to the case itself. We have all sorts of different types of evidence. You know, it's not just circumstantial. Now we have eyewitness through.
So her bio is national trial attorney, federal litigator, handles constitutional cases, and was she defense, or it looks like she was all prosecution. So she's definitely pro-prosecution here.
A real person. You have eyewitness essentially through camera footage. It connects to the defense's new motion because it seems like they're really trying to do everything they can, as they must in a case like this where evidence is so clearly weighing against the defendant, that they just want to delay as much as possible, throw everything at the wall, because once they get to trial, there's so much stacked against this person.
That is possible. That is definitely possible. Hey, buddy, have a great week. Dino's awesome. Thanks, buddy, for coming in the chat. You're awesome. Thank you for the GoFundMe stuff here for Heather. Dino's awesome. Always great to have Dino here. Have a great week, buddy.
In Cannon, in regard to what Mackenzie is talking about here, defense counsel really wants to have a continuance in this case. The judge has told them that they better be prepared. You better be ready. When we first started hearing about all the information in this case, the defense counsel was saying,
we're going to get out of here too soon. Whoops.
Saying that Bryan Kohberger was out stargazing that night. And then, as Mackenzie was saying, more and more details have come to light that appear to connect him to this situation. How do you change and keep changing your approach as a defense counsel to a case like this when new information keeps coming out, tying, in a way, your defendant to the case, your client?
Well, Kelly, good morning. I would say the best thing for the defense to do is to continue to go at the credibility of the witnesses and at the credibility of the evidence that's been put forth. It appears that they're saying that their client's Fourth Amendment rights have been violated, his constitutional rights have been violated to his privacy. It appears that they're going to go at the witness that we just discussed. And essentially what we're seeing is a defense that's doing everything that they can to help their client. But as you indicate, it appears that bad things just keep raining down on Mr. Kohberger's head. So as far as being able to get some form of adjournment or pushing back the time for...
Thanks, brother. Appreciate that. Thank you, Mustang. Look at all the money they spent on the Karen Reed trial. Absolutely. It's taxpayers, man. Taxpayers foot the bill for all of this. We haven't had a high-profile case in Missouri in over 13 years because they don't like to investigate and do anything. It's insane. It's so I feel so bad for you, Barbara. It's awful. I don't know. Brian's family doesn't seem like they have money. I think they have some money. The middle class, right? Middle class Pennsylvania, blue collar, absolutely. Because I think she's a public defender. I think he had to get a public defender, but she's a good lawyer. She's really good.
For the trial, the judge has already pretty much ended how he's going to move. So at this point, either they're going to take some type of plea or they need to have some type of evidence to clearly indicate that their client isn't the person who killed these victims.
This is one of the reasons why, I'm just not a big fan of gag orders, because gag orders don't work. I mean, look at these cases get talked about we're talking about them right now. You go any talked about on the news, talked about on mainstream media. Gag orders mean nothing. Look at the Delphi case. I mean, So, I mean, if you're going to play it fair, right, if the prosecution is going to be able to get out there and say what they say every time there's a press conference, stuff like that, the defense team should have a rebuttal because it just taints the jury. There's no doubt about it. I'm not a big fan of gag orders at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see if the state is going to offer a plea. I mean, I don't know, but it's a death penalty situation, and so we'll have to see. Could maybe they take the death penalty off the table? I don't know, but we'll have to see if the.
Jocelyn's here. Hey, Jocelyn, good to see you. Jocelyn's amazing. Jocelyn's got a channel too. He's binge watching a show and totally lost track of time. That's all right. I'm not really important. Wait, I'm just catching up on this 4 dead college case. Yeah, this is the Idaho 4 case here. And I don't think it's going to be going to trial anytime soon, but you never know. Let's do this one here. And then we'll get out of here, I think.
At 10 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday, Banfield goes on the air. Whether my hair is done or not, whether I am ready or not, whether I've researched it, written, I got to be on the air. So I know a thing or two about deadlines and lawyers.
Well, this was done 2 days ago. Like I said, they're trying to get a delay for the trial, which they'll probably get.
Lawyers do too, especially trial lawyers. Tonight, Ann Taylor, lead attorney for accused quadruple murderer Bryan Kohberger, is up against a doozy. For now, at least, she is expected.
I mean, they just don't stand any purpose, in my opinion, these days. Gag orders are there to kind of, I don't know, it's just a way for nobody to get their word in edgewise. They gag everything. And, I know there's certain things you got to kind of keep close to your vest as far as, the police department, stuff like that, but they have their own press conferences where it's obvious that people are going to talk about it. You have so much social media these days. People talk about it all the time. It's hard to not taint a jury. And the judge gives restrictions anyway, so it's not like, it's just, to me, that's pro-prosecution for sure. No doubt in my mind.
Stand up and deliver her opening statements 53 days from today on August the 11th. Before that, however, she has to at least have a working knowledge of 68 terabytes of evidence. And if you're wondering what 68 terabytes is, it is the equivalent of the entire Wikipedia website times 70. Think about it. For weeks now, she has been fighting to get the trial delayed and warning. Remember those words. She says his.
Charlotte was here last week. Charlotte's amazing. No, we miss her too. I'm pretty sure she's busy though. She's been busy the last few months. But we miss Barbara. We miss Charlotte too. Charlotte's amazing. Charlotte's an amazing person. Tracy's awesome too. Tracy, if you want to know anything about a case, just ask Tracy. She's like, she's awesome when it comes to the cases. Let's see here.
Constitutional rights will be violated as a result.
Next week, I'll be back with that case I wanted to look up tonight. I saw it on one of those unlimited talk shows crime talk shows that talk all night about the cases, and I unfortunately deleted it. So now I got to find it again. But I was trying to tie that in with maybe Israel Keys over there between the years of 1998, 2002, that close to where he was in British Columbia. But I'll have to check that out.
The judge has yet to formally rule on her request to delay the start, but yesterday hinted strongly that all sides should be ready to go as planned on August 11th. And Taylor is hardly the first attorney to feel rushed and under the gun in a big case. Prosecutors face the exact same pressures as the defense attorneys do. And to be fair, I don't know, Team Kohberger may also just be trying to stall. But either way, John Paserno can relate. Years ago, as a public defender in Kansas City, he was assigned a 16-count rape and kidnapping case with minimal time to get up to speed. And so, Mr. Paserno refused to go to trial, saying that he was unprepared and he dug in his heels. And so the judge in the case responded by throwing him in jail. Huh. Threw him in jail for contempt. And he spent 4 days locked up over Father's Day weekend, too.
Yes, thank you so much for all the likes. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Heather. What is this? This is...
And when Mr. Paserno got out, the public defender's office fired him.
Really?
John Paserno is live with me now. Wow. Couldn't be a better timed guest to talk to you about what Ann Taylor is going through. When you heard about Ann Taylor yesterday, is that why you immediately wrote to me and said, I've been there, done that?
Yes, in part. I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head that most trial attorneys find themselves in this situation.
I wouldn't be surprised if Kohberger fires her at the very last minute.
But hers is a really extreme situation. Just for everyone to understand how much 64 terabytes is, routinely on federal cases involving drug cases where we get 20 or 30 defendants all charged at the same time, usually it involves a huge amount of surveillance of telephone cameras, telephone recordings, text messages, emails, anything on their social media that's on their phones. And we normally will get a drive that has anywhere from 1, 2, or 3, or 4 terabytes. And of course, that's for all the defendants. And it's just a huge task to go through. She has 64 terabytes with just...
There isn't that many terabytes in this one little box. I don't know why they're showing this box here.
One defendant. I would say it's virtually humanly impossible for her to get through all of that material one time, never mind, being prepared for trial on it.
I gave the example of Wikipedia, the entire site times 70. I'm going to give another couple of examples here. 68 million photos, 24,000 full-length high-def movies, 13.6 million songs. And
that's what I mean. He could do that. He could do that. And I wouldn't be shocked if he did, honestly.
And 136 million documents. That's what 68 terabytes amounts to. John, is this kind of the way?
I mean, look at Lori Vallow and that crazy lady over there. Remember the crazy lady that locked her boyfriend in the suitcase? Remember her? What was her name again? I mean, she fired all 9 of her lawyers. The hell was her name now? Hopefully I forgot it. Remember, she locked her boyfriend in the suitcase and she fired all 9 of her defenders.
It is now in the digital world.
Sarah Boone, there you go.
I mean, I don't even want to look at my photos because I don't delete them enough. And so there are thousands and thousands. Is that just the way it is now for lawyers? You're going to be given these massive Everest-style mountains of discovery, and you're going to have to do it, in a short period of time.
I'm so glad I forgot her name. Sarah Boone. That's right. Thank you, Tracy. The pack, Europe, Canadian cigarettes or American cigarettes? Lori's a nut job. Lori Vallow, yeah.
It really is, Ashley. That's the one biggest change, I think, in my practice over the decades has been that we get everything that electronically now, and there's so much of it. Fortunately, like the example I used a moment ago, we're able to weed through it and get down to our specific defendant. But when there's so much information that she has to look through, how does she know what's important and what isn't important until she has the opportunity to review it?
So Did you know that the possibility would be contempt and jail? And I guess the extension of that question is, and know that as well?
Oh, I'm confident that a lawyer for equality knows that. I was a young public defender. I'd been a public defender for less than a couple of years. I knew that that was a possibility. I wasn't certain that that was going to be the end result when I did what I chose to do. But, my main goal there was to delay the trial for my client. Ultimately, I was successful in doing that. He did not go to trial as scheduled. Another lawyer was appointed for him. And some months later, he had his trial. But it's always in the back of your mind.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe.
So that's the end of that. I'll keep following that. Obviously, I'm going to have to because it's, Idaho, Idaho 4. But, there's some interesting stuff coming out of that. I'm not going to lie. Anyways, I'm going to get the hell out of here. You guys have been awesome. It's been a great live tonight. You guys are always the reason why I come in here every Saturday night and bore you. That's too funny. Anyways, Heather Brown, we love you. She's got her GoFundMe. Scrolling across the bottom, Heather's not feeling all that great, so we got a GoFundMe account for her set up. I think Kira did that for her here, and we, Heather Brown is just an amazing person, and that's why she's here. She's always welcome here. Yeah, we love you too, kiddo. Jenny, you're awesome. Thank you. It's good to see you tonight. Always good to see Jenny here. Tracy Fleetwood is the guru, the mentor, the person that if I ask for a case, she'll bring it right up. Barbara Hall, thank you. I'll read your email and I'll get back to you. Barbara Hall's amazing person. Thinking about her all the time and her son Timothy Dees. Hopefully we get some answers for her soon. Dirty Diana, you're just amazing. Thank you so much. Dirty Diana is awesome. She's got a great channel. Very entertaining, put it that way. But she's also very smart. So there's that. Who's your daddy? Thanks for coming in, buddy. Appreciate it. You're always welcome here too. Everybody's always welcome here. I know people disagree sometimes. I'm probably never going to boot anybody. If I get to the point where I boot somebody, then I'm really pissed. But I do want people to try to at least get along. Oh, I know. But you guys are great, no matter what. Jocelyn was in here. Thank you, Jocelyn, for coming in. Jocelyn's amazing too. We love having Jocelyn here. I think you got a channel too, right? Is it Butterfly Kisses or something like that? Feel free to throw your channels here down in the chat. That's why everybody has wrenches here. Is that way you can do that. Barbara Hall's got a great channel. Who else was in here? Who am I missing? Everybody. Anita was in here. Thank you, Anita, for coming in. Appreciate it. I know Amy was in here. Amy's awesome. Thank you for coming in. Appreciate it. Sweet Dude Shibby was in here. Shibby's awesome. Great guy. Always the life of the party here. Mino Dino was here. Mino Dino's great. Miranda was here. Miranda's awesome. Let's see here. I'm probably not going to get to everybody. I know Honeybee was in here for a little while. Honeybee's awesome. Honeybee has a great channel. Check out Honeybee. Honeybee's an amazing person too. We love Honeybee. Period. Thank you for all the new people that came in tonight too. Chuck was in here. Chuck was here under Necessarily Evil and Charlie Manson and a whole bunch of other ones. Necessarily Evil's cool. Let's see here. I'm going to try to look more into that other case we covered tonight too. Lauren Steele case. Because that's interesting. I got to find that place in Las Vegas too. I wonder where she went. I wonder if it's even real. I wonder if she even was going there. Let's see here. I'm going to forget people. I know that. Sorry about that. But usually when I'm doing lives like this, I can't scroll all the way back up to the top. I know that Fiend was in here too, right? Fiend was awesome. Thank you for coming in. And I got to get cracking on that other case that I was trying to get into tonight too. There's just so much shit going on. There's so many different cases going on right now. Mustang was in here too. Mustang's cool. Paula Fitzhenry was in here. Paula's great. All right. Also, all the people that are watching the replay, I really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. I know a lot of people watch the replay because I'm up so late at night. But, yeah, we'll get together soon too on that long haul. There she is right there. That's Jocelyn's channel there. So we'll get together on the long haul trucker stuff too here. There's just so many other cases that I try to get to every week. Anyways, I'm going to play my intro. I'm sorry, my outro, and then I'm going to get the hell out of here. But you guys have all been great. Whatever you do, don't die, and stay safe, and we'll see you guys next week. Ice cream sounds good right now for sure. All right. Take care, everybody. Have a good week.